And welcome back to Valhalla News. I am Wick Weathersworth. Just to keep you informed on all the latest weather, it is going to be piss crazy weather, warm everywhere going on. In today's top story, Minnesota Vikings have not shit the bed. They are okay. North Turner will not be turning their wheels anymore, so no more blast middle on 3rd and 9. And also, don't forget to get out there and vote, as you only have very limited time. So if you would like to vote Republican, Green, or the Independent Party, don't forget that is November 8th, and anybody else, including Hillary Clinton, is November 9th. Make sure you get out there and vote, people.
Face that runs the place. My name is Jabroni. Next to me is the champ that runs the camp.
You gotta clean up this place, man.
There's I really do. There is.
Big shout out once again to our man behind the power, the new technology.
The man who had to cut the maid out of the budget.
The man who has the plan. See, we all
the
got
new
a little
format
rhyme.
set up. First of all, big shout out to former guest, and soon to be probably on here very soon again guest. Strikers McClinch had his brain surgery, was successful, and he looks like one of those Cupid doll onion head things.
I called him the evil onion. He had the onion head.
No, do you remember those Cupid dolls you used to get way back in the day?
Throw the dart, win a prize, and there's Lynch.
Cupid doll.
I never did get a bearded one though, and that's what he is. But yeah, big ups to Lynch, man.
Man, you can honestly say that you have, you've got it harder than all of us now, buddy.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got less hair than the rest of us, which I didn't think was possible.
Well, yeah, you were heading down that.
Yeah,
you were heading on the upper path of more, and now you're heading down the lower path of less.
It'll grow back, kid. It'll grow back. But hey, look, Rachel's even pimping us out right now.
But
I heard Stryker now has psychic powers. Strangely,
it's quite possible.
Good.
I think they left the scalpel inside, which now catches
that
radio
chip
waves
in there and shit, man.
All right.
Oh, be careful.
He looks like Martian Manhunter, doesn't he?
Yes, sir. So in case you guys have not, been anywhere in this world, obviously November 8th is voting day. And I believe everybody in this place right now and at this table all agree on the same thing. We don't care who you're voting for. We're going to give you our little tidbits and our thoughts and our process. Just go out there and do it. Let your voice be heard. It does matter. And seriously, like we've said it a million times, if Jill or if Gary can turn around and get 5%, I mean, hell, we can be looking at something entirely different. You want to make a change, now is kind of the chance to do that, folks. I mean, 5%, you really think about it. That's not a whole hell of a lot out of everybody in this world that, or out of in this world, my apologies, in this country that are voting. Just take the time, do it.
So the popular vote does matter.
I'd like to
an
believe
extent.
It does, yeah.
It does matter to an extent. I mean, obviously the Electoral College is different, but there are things that are determined by popular vote.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Campaign financing is one of them.
Right. And to me, if I can make a statement, and we're going to have our final thoughts toward the end of the podcast about this Tuesday's election. This Tuesday.
Yeah.
Guys, vote your conscience. And I say that with all the love in my heart, and I say that with all the intelligence that I've gained over the last however many years about politics, about just looking at each and every, and like you brought up some weeks ago, there's over 200 people that run for president. Only so many make the ballot in every state.
Like 360 total filed the paperwork.
Okay. So maybe Hillary's not for you. Maybe Trump's not for you. Maybe Johnson's not for you.
Maybe Joe Exotic is not for you.
I was just about to say Joe Exotic. Maybe Vermin Supreme is the guy. Do your homework. The American, and I'm saying this because I love watching the news. I love being informed. The American media want you to believe that there's only two. We brought it up a couple weeks ago. The school systems want you to believe and tell the kids There's only two, Republican and Democrat. We have, I think, is Stein
Yeah.
on the ballot in all 50 states?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay, so we have 4 viable candidates that I know of on the ballot in all 50 states. You have, today's Wednesday, and this is going to drop on Saturday. So you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You have 7 days. 7 days to get yourself educated, get out of this big 2-party politic crap that we go through, this electile dysfunction that we are going through in 2016. You're laughing, but that was my famous catchphrase that I didn't want to use. Get out of the norm. Look and see. You could look up Gary Johnson and say, this is really the guy for me. He believes in what I believe in. You don't have to pick between the lesser of two evils here. You want to pick the lesser of two evils? Do that when you're driving down the highway and saying, should we get McDonald's or Burger King? That's the lesser of two evils. Voting for the
Coke or
future. Yeah, Coke or Pepsi. Red Sox or Yankees, whatever the case.
No, it's only Red Sox.
Krusty or McD or Ronald.
Right. This isn't. This is the future of your nation. And if you don't do your homework, you are bound. If you, let's say, just for the sake of argument, you vote for somebody and they declare martial law and now you're fucking stuck with this person. And I know there's a long process about how this works. You're stuck with that person. If you voted him in, you know what? If you think you voted for the lesser of two evils, you screwed us all. Vote your conscience. That's all I have to say.
It's kind of funny that you bring up school, because I remember in elementary school, and I distinctly remember it was the Ronald Reagan campaign
versus Mondale.
Yes,
in '84.
Yes,
we did the
yes,
same
yes.
thing at our school.
And I remember being
They
super
did that in first grade, and I didn't know what the hell
exactly
they were talking about.
right. But I just remember being super excited about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we were actually able to vote. And it seriously, it didn't mean anything. It absolutely meant nothing. It's not like our votes went to the to the thing, and regardless. But Reagan obviously he won, but he also won our school. Yeah. So
the funniest thing, and
I'm just saying, I think it's crazy how we used to actually be excited about things like that. Like the schools would almost get you excited about it, and now it's almost like they're more likely to show you the negatives and not so much the positives of being active and getting into the voting.
And that goes back to, if you don't mind, that goes back to something Ed has brought up like a million times, and it's now something that I've said before and you've said before, but Ed really was the one that brought it to the forefront here on this podcast, that 24-hour news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something negative. There's always some sort of controversy. There's always something that you can poke a hole through, and depending on which channel you watch, if they're pro-Clinton, pro-Trump, pro-Johnson, whatever. I think CBS right now is pro-Johnson. He's been on CBS Morning News every day for the last 2 weeks.
That's because they're local.
CBS?
Yeah.
How is CBS local? They're nationwide.
Well, yeah, they are, but they started around here.
Okay, fair. I'll buy that. They're featuring Gary Johnson
ESPN
every
too.
day. Exactly, Bristol, Connecticut. But now they're in New York and L.A.
Yeah. No,
bullshit.
absolutely. But
depending on which station you watch, you can obviously see the slant. CNN, the guy came on and said there's no basis behind the new opening of the Hillary Clinton FBI investigation. Why? Because CNN is backing her and they paid you enough money? Go ahead.
People have been talking about there has not been an investigation reopened.
yeah.
There's talks.
He turned over some emails to Congress. An investigation has not been reopened.
No,
yet.
it hasn't, but there's talks.
By the media. That's it.
So Comey hasn't.
Comey just turned over something because he thought he was trying to cover his own ass. He realized if that
don't
came
they
out,
all?
Yeah, he realized if that came out, Congress could easily pin him for lying. So he released him to cover his own ass. I mean, his ass is toast if Hillary wins.
Pretty much.
He's gone.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I'd say yeah.
But there hasn't been an investigation reopened yet.
I wish there would be.
Well, here's
Blow
the
her
problem.
out of the water, President Tim Kaine.
Here's the problem, though. Like, the election's going to come and go. If she wins and they try to reopen the investigation, then Obama can pardon her.
After the fact? Oh, yeah, because he's got X amount of months.
It's a federal crime. You can pardon anybody for a federal crime.
Some bitch. People were talking about that recently,
except secession.
People were
not
talking
secession.
about
Impeachment. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, well, impeachment was there just for that reason.
Yeah, and they tried to get Bill Clinton on that, but getting a
They did.
blowjob's not illegal.
Yeah, yeah.
They did. The Senate actually overturned that.
Right.
The House like has impeach powers. Then the Senate has to vote on that, and they overturned it.
Right. Well, we'll get to that at the end. You brought up Lynch. I want to bring up another friend. Is by the time you guys hear this on iTunes, Google Play, etc., so forth, the fight will be after the fact. Our man Blair, the Bull Shark Tugman, is fighting this Friday, November 4th, at Mohegan Sun for Bellator against Walter Cotito Smith. Now, this was the guy he was supposed to have a title fight with Reality Fighting. Didn't happen. Now they're going to do it on a bigger stage with Bellator. I don't need to ask you who do you think's going to win, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
It's tough. I gotta tell you, I tossed and I turned.
Yeah, I'll bet you did.
I really did. It's I did a lot of homework on both these fighters. I almost went towards Smith just because of the last name, and I can't. Bull Shark is obviously one of our favorites. I'm fucking with you guys. Of course, Bull Shark's gonna win, man. It's gonna be I'll tell you what. He just popped by recently at one of our Halloween parties, and he's put on like 20 pounds.
Oh yeah, he's fighting at a higher weight class. He was doing featherweight before at 135. Now he's moving up to the 145.
Dude, he's like 200 pounds.
He's still 4'3", but
he's like 200 pounds. Like, he went and gave me a hug. I'm like, easy guy, fucking easy. He gave me a hug before, and I can hang with that shit.
like
now,
hugging a boulder now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
now it's like.
You ever
dude.
notice like the strongest, biggest guys are always the most affectionate? They're like, "Come here!" Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, he's still the same height. He just bulked out to like 200 pounds.
Right.
It's like, yeah, he's
going in. Weigh-ins are Thursday.
Yeah,
I believe.
Thursday, 11 a.m.
So you guys can watch it live on either SpikeTV.com.
I think they're doing it on SpikeTV.com again. Yeah.
I'm sure Blair will have a live gimmick going up on his
Yeah, he
Facebook.
did it last time too.
Yep.
So you were able to go on there. That was cool.
And you
I think
have
Blair should drapes his opponent knocked out on the ground in a Loki and Jabroni shirt.
I don't disagree with
I
that.
like that
That's
idea.
what I'd like to see. I know he probably can't because of sportsmanship rules, but
It would be nice.
it'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
It'd be fantastic.
That's how you know you've made it.
Loki here is designing the walkout shirt.
Yes, I do. If I've actually posted a little sneak preview of his logo that it's going to be in the main part of the shirt.
Nice.
I got a couple of his his logos on there, his personal logos, and of course
Sponsors
ours.
and whatnot.
Yeah, sponsors, and of course ours is on there.
Nice.
Back in center, baby.
It's gonna be good. I'll be sitting with the Tugman folk. Me and Blake will probably be doing our live gimmicks.
Yep.
It's gonna be fun. And as always, go Bull Shark, man. That's our guy.
Oh yeah.
So we have people complaining that the audio is not loud enough, but I don't hear it. I don't understand it. But let us know if the audio is getting better. All you out there in Facebook Live land, we're glad to have you. And we're going random this week. So there's no.
Well,
really...
I think the biggest thing is we want to make sure that people are informed, number one, about who the candidates are. If you guys don't know, this is your last chance. We've made a lot of jokes about things, seriously, and we've had a couple episodes where we've really tore down, politics and where we stand and what's going on. But pretty much it's crunch time now. If you guys haven't registered to vote, go out there and do this. Like, get this done. Like, you can do this 24/7. There's a register. I believe you can do it online.
You can register on Facebook.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you're watching us,
dude, that's just how easy it is. Seriously,
stop the feed,
just
register.
go to Facebook.
I think by the time they hear this,
if they're watching live,
it's over. If you're watching live, yeah, you can do it online.
I think
everybody's closed.
Today's Wednesday,
Yeah.
so I think registry online ends tonight at midnight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So get online. It's
so
easy.
Those you guys are.
It's the future of your country.
No, it really is. It really is. And just take the time. Like, I mean, we've said it a million times. We don't care who you guys are going with. Just take the power. The power is actually in your hands. You have the ability to make a change. Do it. Mm-hmm. Seriously, do it. Don't be one of those people that don't do it and then bitch about it. Because my God, here's your chance. Here's your chance right now.
At least be counted.
Yeah. Stand
Exactly.
up
I love
and be counted.
that. Right, exactly. Let it be known for something. And don't forget, these parties get 5%. It means something.
Yeah.
That really does mean something.
gives-
so you
that
don't have
gives
to
future
you don't have to vote for
libertarians-
these big two. You can vote for somebody else. Your
That'll
vote
give-
will go somewhere else.
That'll give future libertarians, future Green Party, future independent, future whatever. I don't know what Joe Exotic is running under, but God bless him. It'll give these guys the knowledge and the confidence to say, you know what, I can hang with the big two.
So
Ross Perot showed it in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
What
No,
did he
absolutely.
get? I think he got like 13% back then, give or take.
He made enough to get on the debates.
Right.
Yeah, but he dumped
Well, he dumped
millions of dollars,
exactly.
and that's part of the thing. The Republican Democrat parties are heavily financed
yeah,
by
absolutely.
billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Billionaires that don't care about you.
But billionaires that have influence
Speaking
on that, you
of
know.
billionaires who don't care about you, I got to ask you, and I think all of us have a moderate interest in the pro wrestling business. What do you think about Goldberg coming back? Because there's a billionaire who cares about us. Not Goldberg, so to speak, but
The
Vinny-
only
Vinny
thing,
McMahon.
I mean, he's a force. I like the fact that he is coming back. He's definitely just crowd wise. He's a crowd pleaser. He really is. He's one of those that you hear the music and it's like, oh my God, am I hearing this? His intro is explosive. He still does the 30-second matches, spear, jackhammer, game over thing.
he took care of Rusev the other night just in a promo. He gave the
Oh, I know.
jackhammer. I was...
No, I know. He looks good.
Yeah,
He
does.
looks good. I can't take that away from him. So when people make a return, say come out of retirement, and they do, they end up doing that.
Right.
I have no problem with that actually, because he's one of those guys that, you know what? Yeah, the streak went a little long in WCW. I've always made that
I thought
known.
it should never have ended.
Ended,
Eventually, it had to, but at the time they ended it,
yeah,
it was
but
garbage.
some of the dude, like, let's be honest, his streak was honestly like 96 and 1 at that
Yeah, it wasn't
point.
173 and change.
No, because he fought like freaking Glacier like 70 times.
Bobby Eaton.
And then yeah, exactly, and freaking the Lucha Libre that he tossed around like 80.
Hoovy? Was it Hoovy?
Hoovy Stooge. He threw around a lot.
I think so.
I remember he speared the guts out
And
of Hoovy
Laparca,
Stooge.
too. He was all over
Oh
Laparca. back in the
God,
day.
he destroyed Laparca, dude. Forget it. But regardless, no, I do. I think it's a great choice. Out of anybody you could have grabbed, hey.
And, props to WWE for putting him in the video game and giving the opportunity to go out and promote the video game. And when he mentioned that, hey, I'd love to have another match with Brock Lesnar, man, they made it happen. And, again, I'm kind of, it's been a year change since we've been doing this, and I'm a year and change back into watching wrestling. I got to tell you, man, the hair on my arms, the hair on the back of my neck stood up when he came out 2 weeks ago.
Right. It's when they
it was
come out
amazing.
and they look the part. You're excited when
He
they
didn't
come.
look like Hulk Hogan when he came back, all drawn and old.
Exactly.
Goldberg looks like
He looked like he was on fire.
Like
Looked
it's
on
still
fire.
1997. He's busting through the curtain and the sparks and the smoke and all that other gimmickry. It looked great.
So, coming out of retirement seems to be a big thing.
Yeah.
With this last couple of weeks and going on. Percy Harving has recently announced that he is coming out of retirement and going back to the Buffalo Bills. Now, obviously, he's got to go back to the team that he was originally,
or else the contract and all that.
blah, 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 right, exactly.
SchneebitzFernum.com.
What do you think about that?
I think Percy Harvin's best playing days were not behind him when he left.
I
don't remember why he left.
He's just injury prone.
Yeah.
He gets one good hit and he's out.
What I remember about Percy Harvin is from college through his first year, I think it was with you guys.
Minnesota, yeah.
He was explosive. And you start him out like any rookie, unless he's like Ezekiel Elliott or a few other guys that you just put him on the starting line right away. Percy Harvin was put on that kick return team. Boy, was that freaking genius.
Oh, yeah.
Because Percy Harvin busted
and
through a
slot.
lot.
And slot. And they threw him in a slot
right.
receiver, dude.
I think Percy Harvin left too early. I think his best playing days were ahead of him. I think that's a plus for the Bills to have Percy Harvin on their roster and to go forward. I think he's got a lot to prove, too. Not just to the Buffalo Bill fans or the football fans in general. He's got a lot to prove to himself.
Well, let's say he is healthy. Let's say he is the Percy Harvin that we knew from Minnesota and even going into Seattle. Don't forget, he was one of the reasons why Seattle won that Super Bowl. His touchdown from a return. They put him out there on the return, and he got the touchdown from it. If this is the Percy Harvin that we remember, that could be a game changer for the Bills.
That's dangerous for anyone who goes up against them.
So
because, again, he's like, and I'm just going to go to Atlanta because that's my team. He's like Eric Weems. You kick the ball to Eric Weems, you're guaranteed 30 yards. If he breaks through, you're screwed.
Nobody catching him.
And if Percy Harvin breaks through and he's got the moves, I was scared of him when he was a college player.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely friggin' terrified. And then he went to the pros. He goes to Minnesota, and one of his first games was against us back in like 1863. Whenever it was only like 8 years ago, but he was dangerous.
Yeah.
And one of his first catches, he bust through for 70 yards. Luckily, our kicker knocked him down, which then again says a lot about Percy Harvin. I hope your game has changed. I really hope that this is a successful.
I hope his attitude has changed.
I was getting to that. I hope your game has changed. I hope your attitude has changed. You're going to be a force, Percy, and God love you. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Football needs more guys like you that play with heart.
Hey,
and soul.
look, if you like I said, if you got the gusto, if you got the reason to do it, hey, go for it. There's absolutely no reason behind not doing it.
That's everywhere.
But if you guys want to come out of unretirement, we'll just see you right after this commercial break.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Loki and Jabroni Show. Hey, if you love the Loki and Jabroni Show, stop at www.facebook.com/The Loki and Jabroni Show. Get involved in the conversation. Let us know what you think about today's topics and leave your suggestions. Loki and Jabroni Show is the #1 podcast in New England and the only podcast with an official endorsement from the demon god Cthulhu. Isn't that right, Mr. Cthulhu?
Welcome back to the Loki and Jabroni Show. We are in the middle of our Randy randomness this week, and
Lost and found his way. Harambe, Harambe.
You and your fucking Harambe. For those of you that are going to
tragic
I remember the days back with Harambe.
Oh my God! You guys could go on the road. You could be a great singing duo. For those of you that are picking this up,
Should we call the band Harambe?
Harambe. Absolutely. Remember Harambe.com.
Never forget
For
Harambe.
For those of you that are getting this on the podcast version, not on the Facebook Live version, this is going to be old news by the time you hear it. World Series Game 7 tonight. Two of the biggest hard luck teams in the history of Major League Baseball, the Cleveland Indians, who haven't won in 60-some years.
1906.
1908.
1908,
Yep,
yeah,
for the
Cubs. And I believe it was 64?
48.
48, yeah, because it's 60. Well, no, it's 60.
64
yes,
and 97 were the
Yes.
last two World Series Cleveland played in.
Yes.
One question. Game 7 tonight decides it all. Who do you got?
I gotta go for the underdog. Gotta go for the Cubs, man. I gotta give it to them. I know what it. I personally don't know what it feels like for 86 years. I know my grandfather was a die-hard, huge Red Sox fan. He died before he ever got to see one happen. I've got to see, obviously, freaking 3 of them. So, I mean, it's a bittersweet feeling, and I think there's a lot of generations that deserve this.
Right.
Grand Slam,
Chicago in general.
Grand Slam last night
that was beautiful.
Was just out of nowhere. The way those Bears played, I think there's a little magic in Chicago.
You might be right. In baseball, obviously, the longest drought I ever saw was 18 years. I was born in 72. The Yankees win in 77, 78. And then they don't win again until 96.
Right.
So 18 years wasn't painful. In hockey, the Bruins win the year I was born. They don't win again until 2011. But if you don't know, if you don't have that taste of heartbreak, so to speak, you don't know what.
And
these
they
guys
were.
are
I'll
going
tell you
through.
what, Bruins were a heartbreaking team. They
when
would
they-
have some freaking great years and just flop it in
If
the
it
end.
wasn't for Wayne fucking Gretzky, the Bruins win the cup in 1990.
I agree, but dude, Wayne Gretzky was a force.
Oh yeah,
He was a force.
oh yeah.
There was
You,
something.
you
Hey,
can't
he
you can't
was,
deny that. In football, I may wait until the day the line goes flat on my heart rate gimmick thing before I see the Falcons win. But then again, they're the lovable losers. I tell you every year.
Tell you what, man.
We can start out 8-0. We're going to finish 8-8. And I'm right because they're lovable losers. So for me, I don't expect anything from football. For the Cubs fans and the Cleveland fans, man, equally, I feel for you guys. But like Loki said, my heart goes to the Chicago Cubs. I want to watch tonight the celebration. And it's not so much that because it's on Cleveland's territory. I just want to watch these Cubs fans, like when they flipped. You guys won in St. Louis.
Dude,
when they flipped that camera.
No, the first time we won at home was 2013.
Right, and we brought
so
that
if
up
you
a couple
really
weeks
think
ago.
about it, yeah, they really didn't win for, man, almost 96, 95 years at home, you know? So, I mean...
When Pokey Reese bounces that ball back to Keith Folk, Keith Folk flips it to Kevin Millar. Kevin Millar, or is it Bill Miller at first base? Regardless, it was one of those guys who have the last name spell all stupid.
Yes, yeah.
He closes that glove, and as the pitcher and the catcher and the first baseman are running toward each other, what do you see? They immediately switch the feed to this bar in Boston, and people are just losing their minds.
They're going crazy.
I picked up the phone. I called my family, Red Sox fans, and I'm in tears. Not because the Red Sox won, but because I know what it meant to each and every one of them. It was like, man, congratulations. I'm feeling the history. I could give a shit less than my biggest rival is on the field celebrating. It was history. And that's what I want for the Cubs tonight. I want to go to sleep tonight knowing that Chicago, after 108 years, think about that, people, 108 years, finally have their baseball championship.
That's almost 3 generations.
Now, you could go back to the 2005 World Series, and someone's going to say, some jackass is going to say, well, they already have a championship. The White Sox won. Fuck the White Sox. Chicago Cubs was one of the original teams.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve it. And no offense to White Sox fans. You got your championship. Hooray.
I just want
Carry
Back
on.
to the Future Part 2 to come true.
Dude, it's pretty much...
That would have been last year, though.
Whatever.
The Cubs beat Miami in the World Series and the Shark and the thing, and that would have been great.
It was like Jaws 23.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Thank God they stopped after 4.
Yeah.
All right, so that's mine. What do you got?
Besides, like I said, besides doing this whole electoral,
You're really
you're voting.
focused on this election.
I am, man. I just my biggest thing is, like I said, we're proactive in a lot of things. You know, obviously we did the wrestling thing. You know, this. I don't think this can be any more important than what these people, you seriously need to do. Like this isn't no laughing matter. This is one of those things, like, you really need to get out there and you need to do it. There can't be any excuse. You know, there's got to be every reason in the book that's got to be your number one priority. I believe they've run it until 6 p.m., right? Isn't
What,
it 6?
voting? 9
Yeah.
p.m.
Polls?
Yeah,
it's
9
all the way to
p.m.
9.
Yeah, so there's
At least
plenty,
in Connecticut. I don't know about the
there's-
rest of the country.
There's plenty
9
of time to
here.
get out there.
Wait a minute. Our correspondent, Rachel King, is adding something. 8 o'clock?
You have to be, if you are not in line by 8
Okay.
o'clock,
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, so
but
in
they
line,
but they don't close
that's
it up
different.
until 9.
Yeah,
right?
That's a bit different, and I get where you're going with that.
Some states do have early voting.
Mhm.
I
I've
don't
already
think-
cast my vote.
I don't think Connecticut has. Do they?
Yeah.
They have early voting?
Right.
I haven't been able to find it.
Yes, they do, because if not, I wouldn't have been able to cast my vote. I've already voted.
But
Maybe
Oh,
maybe
dude,
it's
no.
because I'm jabroni. I can
Dude,
do what I want.
That wasn't the polls.
What was that?
That was the glory hole shop.
Oh shit!
I'm
screwed.
Man.
That wasn't the lever you were supposed to pull.
First time viewer, Sarita.
He
is
voted
in the
for
house.
Stump.
I did vote for Stump. Big Red Machine, Mark Kane's in the house again. Good job. Guys, chime in. let's talk about this. Let's go back to the election. For a lot of years, and one of the problems I have in this election, like I've already brought up the term electile dysfunction. We really, for the first time in my lifetime, and yours probably, this is the first time where you can't look at the two candidates and really go, oh, God, there's a clear winner.
No.
They both suck in equal measure. I'm talking about the big two. Let's not, again, I already know who I voted for. I'm pretty sure all you guys can figure out who I voted for. But we're talking about the big two, the ones that CNN and Fox News and ABC and NBC are pushing at you every freaking day. There's not one I can look at and go, I can see myself voting for this one, but not for this one. And conversely, I think they both suck in equal measure.
They're two broken candidates.
Oh, without question.
Right. And
without question.
when they speak about their policies are equally broken.
You heard a policy?
Yeah, I was going to say, I have yet to hear
I went onto the websites before I came here, so.
I have yet, even in the 3 debates, granted, I only watched 2 beginning to end. The first one, again, Falcon Saints. Eddie thought I did the right thing in the first one. They'll ask the question.
The first 2 are garbage.
Mr. Trump.
Oh, yeah. No.
The third one, they played nice for about 37 minutes.
Well, props to Chris Wallace, and I don't give Fox News people a lot of credit, but I kind of like Chris Wallace. He kept them both in line. Like they kept trying to. Well, they kept trying to go back to the mudslinging, and he basically said, "That's not the question I asked you. Can we get back to that, please?"
Yeah, exactly.
So Chris Wallace probably the best moderator.
He was on
out of all of them. So,
but they'll ask the question like, Mr. Trump, how do you feel about illegal immigration? Well, illegal immigration is this, that, and the third, and the countdown is on. And ask the immortal. I got my watch. 10, 9, 8, 7. When I get to 1, it's like, but my opponent thinks you can let everybody in the world in, and drugs and crime and rape and sis boom ba in the third. And I'm like, oh, fuck. This is what we have to look forward to.
Well, because it's when somebody says people listen not to understand anymore,
to react,
but to react.
We talked about that,
and that's exactly what people are doing, especially with what's going on with the electoral votes. People are they want to leave a lasting impression,
and they're doing that other
they're
thing.
telling you, look, this is what this person is doing wrong. This is what I'm doing right, and this is why you need to vote for me.
Which is, you ready for it, Ed? Which is horse shit.
Of course it is, but people fucking fall for it. They fall for it. People in everyday lives fall for this every single day drama bullshit.
The source of every conflict is mismatched values. Whether or not, I mean, we agree on a lot of stuff.
Listening to react.
Exactly. We listen to educate and understand, and sometimes we miss the point, and then at the end of the day, we shake hands and blah, 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 schnabitzfirm.com. We listen to try to educate ourselves further. We've all become this great team because we listen to make ourselves better. Some people just listen until they hear that one nugget where they can fire back and go, no, you're fucking wrong. That's what this election and these debates have been so far. It's just, I'm going to listen to you until I hear something I don't like, and then I'm going to fire back. One time in these entire debates did I agree with that is when Hillary Clinton said something about Donald Trump being in office, and he said, if I were in office, you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
To me, that was exactly the point. I'm not a Hillary hater, but I'm not a Hillary supporter. That's what I wanted to hear. If I were president, your ass would be in jail.
No, absolutely.
It's funny you say that because I heard that and I said, yeah, because the president can put people in jail.
Well, you know where I'm getting at, though.
No, I know what you're saying. It was like we all kind of think it because all these there are people who have done things similar.
We'd
to
almost
what
wish
did.
it. If we wish it, it might happen.
General Petraeus did something very similar to what Hillary did.
Right,
fully prosecuted, stripped of honor. Like his services for nothing now because of what he did. And nothing happens to Hillary, and she was a senator, and then she was Secretary of State. And the Secretary of State's a pretty big deal. It shouldn't be as big a deal it is, but it is now. You know, so if
the last time I remember
Secretary of State can get away with that.
The last time I remember an important Secretary of State was Alexander Haig back in the Reagan administration. I couldn't tell you a Secretary of State other than Hillary Clinton in the last 25 years. I can't. There's no way possible for me in my mind. I could tell you presidents, vice presidents, this guy, that guy, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, whatever. I can't tell you the last Secretary of State before Alexander Haig.
Powell was
and
Secretary
Hillary.
of Defense.
Right, but they're different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can name those people. I can't tell you between Alexander Haig and Hillary Clinton, I can't remember the last time I could name the Secretary of State.
The only other one I know of is Jefferson.
Which
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas? That's way back.
Actually, I think he was the first Secretary of State. Or was
Probably, yeah.
Let's
or
let's
was
welcome
that Ben
Brian
Franklin?
Umland.
I don't remember.
Could be. Let's welcome Brian Umland to the live feed. Way to have you. Let's chime in. More about the election? I know there's so much, and Ed has a great question at the end. I don't want to. I don't want to give away too much.
One of my biggest things is, I mean, besides the poo slinging, they essentially, I don't think any of them are really deciding what's going on with this whole Obamacare once Obama's out.
Actually, I have a response to that, but I want to wait to our last segment.
Okay, all right. I mean, because neither candidate has really brought up. I mean, what's
I will tell you this much, because I've actually had discussions with our calling guest about the health care plan.
Yep.
My issue with any candidate promising to replace Obamacare is disqualified in my eyes automatically.
well, that's what I'm saying. You can't
Just
really
get rid of it.
replace it.
Yeah, I was like,
Right.
I just want you to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, I want you to get rid of it, and I want you to open up the market. End of story.
It's a hindrance to the American people.
Yeah, if you talk about replacing it, I don't want to hear it.
Well,
One, it's not the president's job.
I've said this.
healthcare
I've said this a million times, dude. I don't understand, especially with healthcare, how you can have somebody who can perform brain surgery, somebody who can physically save a life, make say $70,000 a year, right? And then
a little
this
more than that.
Well, let's just say a basic. Let's give a basic number, right? $70,000 a year, and then you got this other guy who can just form your face into whatever the fuck you want, and he's making over $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And the only difference is what?
Who's
because
making over $1 million?
the
Plastic
surgeon.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
And what? So his.
I have a response to that, but go ahead.
Well, I'm pretty sure you do.
Doesn't he always?
But this is my point. All doctors should have a certain amount that they make regardless. It shouldn't have to be, hey, just because you work for beauty, just because you turn around and you make people beautiful, doesn't give you the right to make more money. We need more lifesavers out there. We need more compassionate doctors out there. So if you round off the money to where all the doctors are pretty much making the same and they're all funded by one entity, so to say, one common goal, then all of a sudden now you have compassionate doctors again. You have doctors that give a shit about people. Like, you have a doctor that's going in there and like, hey, look, I can save lives and it matters. And people actually give a shit about like what I'm doing.
I think when doctors go into their chosen fields, and I want to get her on the phone some days. I have a friend I went to school with who is now a doctor in Waterford, Connecticut. Her name is Kendra. I won't say her last name or her married name or anything until she agrees to be on the show. Kendra, if you're watching, now's your time. I don't think she got into the field for money. I think she got into the field because she wanted to help people. And to this day, she offers a lot of great things to the community to promote healthcare.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people, when I want to be a doctor, and depending on what field you go into, there's a lot of blood and guts and heartache and delivering the bad news to families. I don't think anybody goes in going, I want to do that. But they don't think about the money. They just, this is something I'm interested in. But as time goes on, I agree, a lot of doctors will go into their chosen fields and see the lure of big money and see the lure of big pharma and see the lure of, this is what I can gain. And it ruins look, Canada has universal health care, and they do quite well at it.
Germany's been doing that.
Luxembourg. There's a lot of countries that have universal health care, and it's a boon to their economy.
Well, the biggest thing that sucks, obviously, right now is the idea of, okay, well, if you can't afford insurance, we're going to fine you because you can't afford insurance.
Say it, Ed.
That's going into the point I was going to make.
Right.
Say it, Ed.
And then you're going to turn around and then say, okay, hey, bounce the check because I just charged you $50 because you don't have health care.
Here's the problem.
Now the big bank just took $40 out of my bank account because you just bounced
Here's the
fucking
problem
$50
I
that
have
I
with
didn't
that.
fucking have in there.
You make too much to qualify for Obamacare. But you don't make enough
to qualify
for your company's health care and feed your family and put the roof over your head and yada, yada, yada. And now the government wants to tell you, well, since you can't join up with our shit
Or
and you
what
can't
they
join
do
up
for
with their
businesses
shit, give me your money.
Because
here's the thing. Why don't you walk into my house and rape my family? Because that's what you're doing.
If you think the other thing that this ends up doing is, especially for businesses, for example,
okay, I
you
didn't
know
hear
what I'm
that,
saying?
so it's all good.
But
The censor button was on.
right, exactly. They know that these people are going to be qualified for this Obamacare. They know that 75% of their company can already be equivalent by state. So when they drop health care for only the individual and they lose their families and save themselves millions of dollars, they're screwing families over big time. Big time. And this is all because you turn around and you think, oh, hey, we're going to have this one setup for healthcare that's just going to be fantastic. And as long as you stay within this certain range, you're going to be taken care of.
You know, I'm not the first one to say it, and I won't be the last. Obamacare, as it's been named, has been a joke from day one. It shouldn't have taken 6-7 years to get it out there. This should have been a plan that took 8, 10, 12 years. Put it out there. Let people work on it that can benefit the American regular working Joe. That came out real fucking quick, if I'm not mistaken. Ed, you want to help me with that? And I say real fucking quick,
I think it's only been around for 6 years.
Right, but it didn't take that
For
long
something,
from
yeah, but something that
inception
should've-
to reality.
The business mandate hasn't even
the
gone into
business
effect
aspect.
yet. Well, pretty soon businesses are going to be mandated the same way as individuals. That hasn't even gone into effect yet.
Yeah, before the thing even gets out there,
But-
it's going to
but-
be fucking crushed.
Let me go on my rant because I got to.
Oh, get it.
I'm like a loaded gun. And I'm going to.
I am ready.
My head is just like Okay, this is the problem with any kind of government-run healthcare. First of all, look at the VA. Government-run
Terrible.
healthcare. It's government-run healthcare. Second of all right, take DJing. Okay, how do you decide what to charge?
How do I decide? Usually, you gotta, if I'm actually doing the wedding or the party or whatever.
Just in general, as a rule, when you're promoting or whatever, like how do you decide your price?
If it's just going to be me taking care of that, or if I'm just playing music, that's essentially
It doesn't
it.
matter. It doesn't really matter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's my deciding factor. If it's just going to be me, say if you're going to be
that's the specifics. But say like, okay, so you're working this area. Okay, you come up with a pricing structure that's like
for bars,
competitive
for bars, right?
Because you're not the only one,
right?
It's competitive, but at the same time, you're not going to go broke doing it because if you start DJing and stuff at a loss, there's no point.
Exactly.
Okay, now health insurance was never meant to be health care. It's not. Health insurance is not health care. It was like something happens, you have insurance.
Right.
Okay, it's become this thing where it's like, well, you don't have health care if you don't have insurance. No, you don't have health care if you don't buy health care. End of story. All right. Now back to the doctor, say the surgeon versus the doctor versus a plastic surgeon. Okay, the plastic surgeon doesn't deal with insurance unless you're in a car wreck.
Right.
Plastic surgeon is not
because
involved.
it's a vanity versus a necessity.
Right. If that plastic surgeon does take in reconstructive surgery, he's not getting paid the same as Kim Kardashian's butt lift.
Fuck Kim Kardashian.
Okay? So that's why a plastic surgeon makes more than a regular surgeon or any other doctor.
Right.
Because he can, or she, can set the price based on the competition, the area, and everything. That's the free market.
What they're doing.
Okay?
Well, one
Now,
of the
let's
comments.
say-
Who they're doing
Go
it to.
ahead, Go ahead. I got a comment from the Facebookers.
Okay. Now, let's say I get elected to Secretary of DJing. We'll say my name is Bernie.
That will only happen if I'm elected president.
Let's say I'm Bernie, and I walk in and I go, "Oh, you're charging $600 a night?" Well, no, God, the rest of these guys can't afford to charge $600 a night, so I'm mandating you to charge $350. And if you don't DJ these parties, I'm going to fine you.
Right.
Do you want it now or do you want it in 5 seconds? Because I'm going to say horse shit.
So basically, what I'm doing is I am dictating what you can charge
What I can
based
charge.
on your value. And if you don't do what I say, I'm going to fine you. So you have one of two options. A, get out of regular medicine and be a plastic surgeon because you went to college for 10 years. You probably still have to pay for it. Like some of these guys are still paying for their education.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Or you can just suck it up and you might get paid after like 5 years of filing paperwork with the government and everything like that. You won't be able to give people the care you want because they're being flooded into your hospital. You have no control over that because you can't say no. So then nobody gets good health care.
Okay.
And to your point about Canada and all them, they have shitty health care.
But they still have it, and people
they have it.
People aren't cast out into the cold. Look, you can go to any hospital without health insurance here in the United States.
I was going to say, my
They'll
brother
take-
being over there in Germany is
Right.
doing...
They'll take care of you.
His
And then you
family
get
is
then you
German.
get a hefty
and they're-
bill. Then you
Yeah.
get a hefty bill. In Canada, you go to the hospital, they'll treat you just like any private.
First
a
you get
private
put-
physician
here's the
should be
thing
able
with-
to set their price.
Here's the thing with Canada, though. You get put in front of a board. So let's say you have cancer. They actually evaluate if it's worth treating
Oh, that's
your cancer
different than
or
an
not.
emergency situation, and that's where I'm going with this.
You know what? Anybody honestly can go to an emergency room now. No one's going to turn them away.
Well, absolutely
But-
not. But
you get the
what
big
they
bill at the
charge
end.
you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you
and
will
the
get a
reason why
bill.
they charge you that much is because they know it's going through
Right.
insurance.
And one of the comments that came in on the old
They actually
Facebook
will
machine.
bill you a
Uh-oh.
lot because of insurance and how they control the prices.
Exactly.
Okay,
Now,
so insurance should not be the primary source of health care.
One of the comments that came in on the Facebook machine is from Lee Bozeman. We're going to get to him in a little bit because I
But
had a conversation with
unfortunately,
him
it is.
recently, and you might not like where this goes. My conversation with Lee. So Lee, I hope you're still listening. It's supply and demand. Athletes, celebrities, and plastic surgeons make that kind of money because we, as a country, will pay for it. It's simple.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of what I was saying.
Right. But what bothers me is that I had a back injury, and I had a couple back injuries, but I've always had insurance. Now, right now, I just started a new job in August, waiting for that insurance to kick in. If I got hurt tomorrow, I'm paying out the ass, 100%. But if I were the same guy living in Canada, it's a much smaller fee because they're taking care of their own.
But you're also taxed like 3/4 of your income.
In Canada?
And what if you never go to the doctor?
I'm gonna have to ask my friends in Canada, and I'm gonna get their opinions on this.
Like
later, 'cause
everybody
I don't have time to do that.
cites the like Bernie did this a lot, the Royal Denmark, whatever. Denmark's tax rate is 60%.
Well,
the founder
personally
of
never
IKEA
mentioned Denmark.
Well, I'm just saying in general, that's what people
Right,
talk about when they
right,
talk
right,
about
right.
these things, like the perfect socialist country. And it's not, first of all, they have a market economy. They're not socialist.
Fair.
And the founder of IKEA actually left Denmark because of their unfriendly tax situation. So
And that's fair.
So now it kind of like what happens here.
But-
Companies leave here.
But the three
Companies
countries
leave other countries with that don't have friendly tax.
But the
plans.
three countries I brought up are thriving with a universal health care plan and making sure that their people are taken care of, because without the people and, your tax dollars and et cetera, so forth, schnabitzfirm.com, you're not going to have anything. Trump is what? Trump is live right now on Facebook, which is why we're recording now and not on Facebook. Because I really don't want to hear what that comb-over cocksucker has to say. Did I say that out loud? Yeah,
So
I did.
chime in with the healthcare, though. I'd be interested to find out how those other countries deal with mental health.
I'll ask, because I got friends that live in Canada and Germany. Your brother lives in Germany. I don't know anybody who lives in Luxembourg, so I can't. It's not a frame of reference that I have.
I know in Canada, psychiatrists and psychologists are considered private physicians.
I'm going to say that again for the people in which country?
Canada.
In Canada, psychiatrists are considered private physicians. So you're worried about.
They don't. So anybody that is on social,
Mhm.
the country's healthcare system, they have to actually pay for that out of pocket.
Okay, and I'll get that. I'll get those answers for next week's episode.
Unless they have separate insurance.
Okay, I'm going to ask my friends in Canada
you
how that
can
works.
still buy insurances in those countries, but you get like different amenities and stuff. It's just different.
My answer to that is before you diagnose yourself with depression, low self-esteem, first make sure you're not in fact surrounded by assholes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Make sure there's only one asshole, and his name is Jabroni.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Libertarians have a cure for that too. They're called hollow points.
pretty much. Let's get back to Lee.
Not encouraging anyone to shoot anyone.
We're going to have more election talk in just a little while. I had a nice conversation with Lee Bozeman, the winner of Sully the Scully.
Yeah.
And I've been texting him over and over, and he's been wicked busy. Give me your address, man. I got to send you this skull. You know what he said? Nah, keep it. It should be in the studio. It's at home. I'm like, dude, we drank the frickin' liquor. Take your friggin' prize, man. Here's what he had to say. He was like, no, that has lived there for so long. It should be a part of the studio. And then what he said is, and
That was the reason why we got it.
this blew me away, and I'm going to go back to the text message. I still have it, and this is going to blow a lot of minds. He went back to our Army days, and he said, do you remember that small bottle of Jack Daniels that I bought for him way back in the day? So, of course I do. He goes, I still have it. He's like, you don't have to. This isn't. I know I joined the contest and all that rigmarole. That skull belongs here. Now, I want you to tell Lee, because he's watching, what you think.
Well, I think I can't say no. It's a generous offer, and I can't say no. And especially, bringing it up, like I said, there's certain things that I have from my military days, and when we originally bought Sully, it was just for that reason. We were hoping, that somebody would be able to throw that up on their mantle and enjoy it. And, it'll work out nicely up there. And we're just going to have to...
So you're in agreement?
Yes. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is when I do win that bet...
Okay, that's a good one. All right.
I will fill the skull with single barrel, and we will shoot from it, and we will use the skull yet again.
What
Blasphemy.
Maybe. Ed, your thoughts on Lee donating the skull with the autographs to the studio?
Well, I think if he's going to leave his empty bottles here, he should leave his first.
It's not even worth a nickel.
No,
Look, I was amazed that this guy still has a bottle of, whether it's just a physical bottle or something in it. 26 years he's got this bottle. That's a friend, and he said it in this text message. He says, you're a friend. I don't keep many of those. Y'all deserve it. That's my way of giving back to the show. I'm like, dude.
All right, Christmas is coming. This guy's getting something.
Oh, the hell, yes, he is, from us, the Loki and Jabroni show. So now
you're getting something. It's coming.
Yeah, you need now to send your address because the three of us are going to give you something good.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic gesture.
It really is. It is. He can be chilling up there.
As much as I gave him shit through the text message machine, warmed my heart. Really was.
Definitely.
Really was awesome.
That's big.
And
all right,
fuck
guys.
the Saints.
Wow, fuck them Saints. All right, guys, we'll be right back right after this commercial message. Hey, dude, what's going on?
Hey, not a whole lot, just hanging out. What's up?
Oh, man, I got really drunk last night at a party.
There's a surprise.
I let somebody tattoo me. It's really bad, dude. I gotta get it fixed. Do you know anybody I can go to?
Actually, I do. You can go down to Sublime Ink Tattoo down in Groton. It's at 577 Route 12. Do you need the number?
Oh, absolutely, man.
All right, write this down. You ready?
I'm ready.
860-445-4400. Go down and ask for some of my friends. There's Dave Kovalik, Dana Batts, Justin Furr, Dave Kruger. They will cover up any shitty jailhouse tattoo
This
your
thing's a
drunken
nightmare,
buddy
man.
gave you.
Thank you very much.
And if you're thinking about getting that little piercing, they do that too. Welcome back to the Local Brony Show. That's what I say. So I got a great story for you guys. After much trial and tribulation this past Saturday, which Mike knows a lot about, finally made it to Boston to see the future president of the United States, Mr. Henry Rollins. Well, I didn't get to meet. It was a VIP-only gimmick. And he told this fantastic story because off the air, what you guys couldn't hear was Ed and Mike and I discussing certain liberties we take on a day-to-day basis. And for those of you that don't know, Henry Rollins is a great friend, a very good friend with RuPaul. Did anybody know that?
The cross-dresser?
Yes.
No.
Same. And when RuPaul had the RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul invited Henry Rollins to be a guest judge. And Henry Rollins is like the least judgmental person on earth. He says, I don't want to do it. But he goes and does it because it's for his friend. And he's doing the judging, and he's watching these guys dressed like women, and he's saying, a lot of these people, oh, Jesus, at the wrong time you know what? Let me explain something to you. I'm in the middle of a Henry fucking Rollins story, and you call in, and you ruin everything. But welcome, Jason Lyon, to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad I came in at a good time, apparently.
We're having a great time, and you know what you did? You ruined my Henry Rollins bliss, but it's all good because we told you to call in. Are you responding? Are you there?
It's Carolina, man. I told you. I told
And
you.
he's
call
gone.
failed. Yep, he did this.
I told you.
Anywho.
Judging drag queens? Let's
I'm
go.
not. Okay, so he's judging the show, and he sees the men out there doing his thing, and he says, after about 30 minutes of doing this, the blood that usually is sitting way up here is starting to run to the nether regions, and he's having to talk, little Henry out of it. He's like, no, we can't do this. These are men, et cetera, so forth. So he gets through the show, and, he's polishing the dolphin later on, a couple weeks later, and he's got the lineup of women in front of him that he usually fantasizes to, and who peeks out from underneath is one of the guys from the show, like doing the little, Rockettes kick. He's like, no, get back behind those people. You can't do this. I am pissing myself laughing at this show, at this story. And he says in his little fantasy, they walk back and he goes
What's
back
up,
to
Andrew?
doing business. And here they come again. Da, 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 da. You like me. You really like me. And he's like, yeah, I couldn't finish the deed for another 2 weeks after that. I couldn't take my personal journey. But again, he's a big
Flog the dolphin.
Right. He's a big supporter of the LGBT community. Henry
Abuse the
Rollins.
Harambe.
Shoot the monkey! Abuse the Harambe is now the catchphrase of Loki. At the end of the day, he's a big supporter of all these things. He's another one that says, don't infringe upon my individual liberty. I'll live my way, you live yours. Let's just be happy with each other. He's just a good guy, and the show was great, and I'm still trying to work Henry Rollins somehow into our schedule, but I told you guys what I
Or like he's got to work us into his.
Well, that's a busy motherfucker. He really is, much like another future guest, which we'll talk about later. I'm going to try to get Jason back on the line.
Tell him to say no to one of those B horror movies I see him in, and to do the show instead.
Dude, he hung up on us and said, call me back after the story. So let's get Jason back on. What a good guy.
Told you. Go down south, and that's what happens.
Right?
All right.
You did not have to hang up during the Henry Rollins story.
You could have just listened to the damn
It
story.
wasn't a matter of hanging up. I lost a little reception. We had a hiccup in connectivity.
Well, no shit. When you're down in Pennsylvania or wherever
Yeah.
your Arkansas is,
You're lucky they
shit
have,
like that
You're
happens.
lucky they even have power down
Yeah,
there.
Georgia's horrible with Verizon. I apologize.
You're in-
I'll apologize. They ain't smart enough to fix their thing.
All right, so you had some things you wanted to say out loud, and I'm sure it has to do with the electile dysfunction that we're about to go through on Tuesday. So why don't you just come out and say what you have to say?
I think as Americans, we should all be ashamed of the two major party candidates that we have, and we should really be looking at the third party candidates and seeing if there's somebody within those that really speaks true to our own heartstrings. I sadly, Gary Johnson was
Enough,
a
it's
very
dead
close
already.
second for me. And I know you guys were talking about this in the very beginning of the show, but it's very important that everyone goes out and actually looks at the people that they're voting for, not just coming into this going, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to vote for the Democrat. people really need to look at each candidate and see who really fits their purpose the most. Just having the knowledge of who you're voting for, really knowing their policies and knowing about them and knowing if they're really standing up for what they're saying they're standing up for. Because I know there are plenty of people that support Hillary Clinton and plenty of people that support Donald Trump that really don't know jack squat about what they both stand up for, let alone if they actually are going to stand up for what they say they're up for.
Well, they stand up for what the media is telling them that they agree with.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you can see throughout history of, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party of things that they say they stand up for, and then once they're elected, that goes out the door.
That's been shown in the Obama administration. Before him was GW. He told the country, in my opinion, and I'm sure these two will agree, a bunch of lies. His father, in my first year of being a registered voter, told the country a bunch of lies. I think only one president that I've actually voted for in my lifetime stood behind, I'd say 60% of what he said, and that was William Jefferson Clinton, the blowjob king.
Yeah, but as much as people dog Clinton, he brought a lot to this country.
Course.
He brought a thriving economy. I mean, the guy. Personally, the guy might have been,
he might have been shady dealing behind the scenes, but for us here at home, the American people, we were at a
he was exactly
really fantastic place.
what we needed. He was exactly what we needed.
Chris, could you possibly move the phone a little bit closer to Loki there?
Already done.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, perfect. It's a little hard to hear him. So.
Understood. Now, Jason, before you go on, you're obviously a registered voter. That makes sense. Are you registered to a particular party?
No, actually, it's a great thing about South Carolina is when you register to vote, that's all you are doing. You're not registering to any party, and I think that's absolutely important. And I wish more states were about that. So here in Connecticut or in South Carolina, you aren't even able to register for a party.
Second question: Is this the first presidential election you're taking part in as a voter?
Yes, it is actually the first one. My first one that I was eligible for was back, I believe it was Bush's last term. And I never really felt strong enough or never really took the time out of my day in order to learn about these presidential elections. But this is the first one that actually, I bit down and I really started learning about everything. And, I've gotten a lot of strong feelings about everything that's come up, learning the history of everything and learning really what these people are standing about. So this is my first one. I'm kind of excited and I'm scared, horribly scared at the same time.
Mike talked about that earlier. I want you to expand on that.
Well, I mean, essentially what we're looking at is two candidates who scare the bejesus out of everybody here, regardless. I mean, we're under the hard knowledge that all the other parties past this aren't going to be coming back. However, and this is what we've said earlier, if enough of us vote against these two parties, we can make these other parties known. So maybe, just maybe, after the 4 years of terror is up, we have reason and some sort of faith to bring something into this.
You just made Eddie smile with your 4 years of terror. That was fantastic. He never smiles. And there he is over there with a big-ass grin.
I'm pretty intense.
You are.
Hey, you guys, I know you guys have seen my live videos. I know most of your viewers haven't, obviously, but that's one thing.
We'll share them.
Huh?
I said I'll share them because very soon, once you and I carve out some time, we're going to be doing live feeds together.
Absolutely. But during that, I tell people if either party doesn't scream to you, either of the two major parties, really look at that because all it takes is 5% of the political or popular vote to really make a huge change in our electoral process for this election. Because at 5%, there's a decent chance that they're going to win a state.
Well, now Well, I want to ask you guys if any one of you guys, I know I'm not, if any one of you guys is a really good mathematician.
Well, I was going to say Connecticut scares the crap out of me because I know it's already a Democratic
God,
state.
It's a blue state.
Yeah, it's
It is.
I'd be surprised.
As an ex-nuclear
Yes.
engineer, I could definitely do some pretty good math.
All right. What do we have? 330 million people live in this country? Give or take? Okay, Ed says yes.
Yep.
He's our
But
fact checker.
I think only like 24% of our population ever actually vote. Though.
That's not the question I'm asking. So I'm just taking it by pure number. If 330 million people live in this country of ours, what's 5% of 330 million? Come on.
So 5% of let's just cut it down to
I don't
300.
know. It's got to be like a couple hundred thousand.
Okay,
That's small.
1.9 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty good showing because what do they say? That only 60% of the general population actually goes out to the polls and votes.
I think it's less than that.
Is it less than that?
I do too.
Okay, so
I do too.
The highest voting turnout was Obama's first term.
Okay, so if let's say 60%, quick, Jason, 60% of 330 million.
50% or 15? 1.5.
60. 60.
60 of well, each 10% is 300 or 33 million. So times 6, we're looking at what's the number? 200 million.
Okay, fair enough. So if 200 million people are voting and you get a million and change to vote third party or fourth party or fifth party or however you want to look at it, because again, in the last 12, 15, 16 years, I am not buying into two-party politics. I'm not going to again in the rest of my life. If a million and change, 2 million, 3 million people go out and say Libertarian Party or Green Party or whatever Joe Exotic is running under, the redneck, no-tooth, gay
He's not
marriage,
on any ballots,
Hulk
dude.
Hogan Party. Regardless, enough people get out
That'd
and
be
get
great,
that
though.
party out there,
He'd be a protest.
it makes a dent
Yeah.
in the two-party political system. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the real struggle for the third party is the fact that, they really need to get to 5% so that they can get the funding and they can get the publicity in order to achieve the 5%.
Agreed.
I think it's a circular logic within that just enables them to be disabled or disables them to be disabled.
If they get 5%, they get reclassified as a minor party.
A minor party, okay.
They'll no longer be called third party. They'll be actually classified as a minor party.
Wouldn't that have been something that happened during, I'm trying to remember the year, 92 or 96 when Ross Perot
He was independent, though. He wasn't a party.
Okay, fair.
We ran
But
that joke
I
before.
really feel
Independents can't be a party.
Right.
Right.
I really feel like with this election, though, this would be the election that any third party should have the best chance of doing it. Because this is the presidential election that has the highest distaste for both major parties. And what sucks is that everyone that doesn't see the third party just sees it as voting for the lesser of two.
We just talked about that a little while ago.
Yeah. See, I apologize. Running on that.
Oh no! You're just clarifying exactly what we're saying. That's why you just flow with it, bro. You just flow with it.
I have a quick correction.
So,
I guess
Go ahead. You had a correction.
53.6% actually voted in
53.6% voted in the last election?
2012.
Wow. Dude, that means half the country.
129
But
million
when
votes.
you look at that percentage of people that actually came out and voted, you got to remember though that was during the Obama election, and during the Obama election was the highest
the first one.
highest turnout for African Americans within the country.
But
So,
here's a problem that I
numbers
have.
definitely lower.
I don't want to cut you off, but here's a problem that I have. You have, let's say, you have 330 million people in the United States. Let's say 220 million are of voting age. You're telling me that, and Ed's got the numbers, he just fact-checked for us, 53% of those people were the only ones to come out and vote, which means 47% of people sat on their ass, eating potato chips, watching the Kardashians, and didn't do their civic fucking duty.
Some people, it's
Yeah,
not a
but
civic
you
duty,
also
it's a right.
have to-
But
you
some of
also
those
have to
people can't
remember,
vote.
Go
You
ahead.
also have to remember with numbers that there were plenty of people that have been proven to have voted multiple times, as well as, there were a couple dead people voting for both parties. I'm not saying it was voter fraud just for one party or another, but there have been voter frauds for both parties. So, that number is still a buffed up number from the actual number. I'm not saying it's greater than 10%. I'm not even saying it's like 3%, but there is some buffed number within that.
I'm going to ask
people showing up than what it really is.
Right. I'm going to ask you this question, and I've watched your live videos, and if anybody listening wants to go follow Jason, it's Jason Lyon, Lyon. He's on Facebook. Watch his live videos. I'm going to ask you, Donald Trump just recently came out and said the election is rigged. Now, this is before many votes have been cast. I know there's absentee voters, like some of our friends who are going to be out of town. Angela's one of them. She had to cast her vote early. Do you think that Donald Trump's words hold any water?
So that's a really tough question because he's not been a career politician. He hasn't really had this power before, and we haven't been able to judge him on it. But what he says, if any of it holds water, it should be good for the country. But whether you can trust or not is really a leap of faith. And, looking purely at the policies, he barely nudged out for Kerry Johnson, so I'm kind of taking a leap of faith on him. I know a lot of people that don't want to, and I honestly can't blame anyone that won't take the leap of faith for him. Because he has been, for his entire career, been a businessman. So, what if he is using this, as they say, just for his business gains in the long run?
Well, my thing is, I think he's pretty much right on that, though. It is pretty much rigged. We just said it earlier. Connecticut is a blue frickin' state. You could pretty much count on Hillary taking frickin' Connecticut. Rhode Island is pretty much Massachusetts, essentially the same way. They're essentially the same.
But Massachusetts is the same state that in I got to do the math in my head. 1988 voted against their own governor for president of the United States.
Right. Well, they know what kind of douchebag he was. Come on.
All I'm saying
would
is
you take Malloy? Would you vote for fucking Malloy as president?
I wouldn't vote
Hells
for
to the fucking no, you
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't vote for Daniel Malloy to go grab me a beer at this point.
Dude, no,
what I'm saying
seriously.
is there are certain
Don't even mention that, man.
I know. Look, at this point, all I'm saying is if you count on certain states being red or blue, or you're falling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well,
it's
essentially, it is. It's essentially he's right. I mean, he is essentially saying it's right. When you go in and you vote, just like what Ed was saying earlier, they turn around and they said, "Oh, we magically lost it. We can't find you registered, sir."
Florida, hello.
Where did it go? Where did your registration go? Oh, we can't find it. Shit like that magically happens all the time.
Right.
If they know we have more Republicans and the Republicans aren't showing up, and we're going to turn this into a blue state, we're going to turn this into a Hillary state.
Oh.
It's rigged. It's straight up. It's fucking rigged.
The weird thing is, it was a Republican that lost my registration. And I thought,
exactly.
I thought it was because I voted for Ron Paul, who is the outsider of the Republican Party.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
God forbid someone likes
well,
liberty.
that makes complete sense.
Right.
That makes complete sense.
Jason, to close this out, if you don't mind divulging, and if you say no, I understand. You walk into your polling place on November 8th. You close the curtain. Who has your vote for President of the United States?
So I've already voted. I did my early voting because I won't be in my county on the day of November 8th. And it really kind of tore me to do it, but I did vote for Trump. And
Well, Jason's fired. Let's go on to the next segment. Look, Jason, what I said earlier, and I don't know if you were a part of it on the live feed, vote your conscience. And if your conscience says Donald Trump, then you know what? We respect you. We don't hate you. We're not going to come to South Carolina and burn a cross on your yard and cut your...
You're a racist, sexist piece of shit, but we still love you.
Fair enough. All I know is you vote your conscience, and if that's what your conscience tells you, then, man, you did your duty as an American, and you voted.
And I promise to console you when he breaks your heart, too.
I absolutely did vote my conscience on this, but, it tears me apart because I couldn't feel strongly, super strongly about any of them. Because, honestly, I felt like this entire election was to call these guys mediocre is a compliment. I feel like this ending of this election, with all the third-party candidates as well as the two major ones, it just wasn't a good showing of what possibilities we can have as America.
So,
and, I feel like at the end of the day, on November 8th, everyone should just hang their head for voting this year.
I agree. And would you agree that electile dysfunction should be the theme of 2016?
It's the title of the show. I tell you that already.
Yeah, all right, good. Electile
Absolutely.
dysfunction. All right, well, thank you for your time. Always a great time. Again, guys, if you're out there in Facebook land, go follow Jason Lyon, Lyon, and in a couple weeks, you might see my face next to him doing some live feeds. And again, Kid, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Always love coming on the show. Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back soon enough.
It's kind of
All
like
right, perfect.
Wait. Don't go. Mike's making a point.
no. I was just. I mean, he can go.
He can go? All right. Go have fun with your kid, man. Say hello to the kid.
Absolutely.
Your electile got excited there.
Yeah,
All right, we'll do it.
my electile was at full attention.
It's kind of like when Double Dragon 3 came out.
Oh,
And see, two had some promise, but when 3
Two
came
was
out,
great.
no, 2 was absolutely
You finally play with your
fantastic.
friends.
Right,
It was
exactly.
awesome.
2 was but 3 was such a heartbreak, and I just kind of feel like that's where we are right now.
Strangely enough, you're absolutely right.
You expect so much, right? And you knew where we could be right now,
Right.
And
right.
And damn,
That's why
man.
we got to make Double Dragon great again.
Damn,
Oh,
man.
dude, you just said that. Hell no.
To the no.
This is the first election that I can remember, even as a young kid, watching Carter and Reagan and Mondale, and then Bush and Dukakis and everybody that followed. You see, I have been following.
Yeah,
Yes.
You said caucus.
I said Dukakis. I've been following
You said
politics
Dookie-
from a very
Dookie on
young
the caucus.
age, and I've been following this with interest. And when I got to be a voting age, and I said it, I think 8 weeks ago, that I did some campaigning for the Clinton campaign in '96. So it does mean a lot to me. This is the first election in my adult life and even in my childhood where I'm looking at the big two. Again, we've talked about it a million times. Look. Full disclosure, my vote's going to Gary Johnson. You're hearing it here. My vote's going to Gary Johnson. It's the first time I can look at the big two and go, oh, absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. There's no way. No fucking way I can vote for either of these two. Absolutely not. That's my own opinion. And guys, if you're out there on Facebook land or on the iTunes, Google Play, wherever you are, I'm not telling you that you're wrong if you vote for Hillary. I'm not telling you you're wrong if you vote for Trump. I'm not telling you you're wrong if you vote for Joe Exotic. What I'm telling you is vote your conscience. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it before the end of the show. We are in a bad place. We are in a real bad place. I think we've covered it ad nauseum for many weeks. Guys, this is the time where we can change this country for the better. And it's up to each and every one of you to do so. Just get out there. If you haven't registered, you have until midnight tonight on the East Coast. I don't know how the other time zones work. This is the last
probably about
day.
the same, but they're about 6 hours ahead of us.
Right. This is the last day to register your
behind
ass
us,
to
behind
vote.
us.
Get out there. Do your due diligence. Are we coming up
Exactly.
on a break, Ed?
We are actually coming up on one right now, guys. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a great DJ or karaoke service? Look no further than Viking Entertainment, this area's largest and best DJ and karaoke service available. KJ Loki and KJ Lady J will take care of your every need. Wedding, Sweet 16, bar, they can do it. Dial 860-204-6876 and get Viking Entertainment for your next party, event, or bar function. Welcome back to the final segment of the Loki and Jabroni Show. Live on Facebook right now, and for those of you picking us up on Saturday on iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, Podomatic, etc., so forth, I look to my right and I see Ted. He's here.
How you doing?
How you doing, Ted?
I'm good.
What do you got to say? We've talked about a lot of stuff today. What do you got on your mind?
Generally, I think we're fucked.
Okay.
I think we're fucked bigger than a pig roast without any gravy.
Wow. Who do you think could run this country?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady could do that. Tom Brady could do that.
I believe Tom Brady could run this country.
Bill Belichick could definitely run this country.
Now, let me ask you a question. Tom Brady's whole platform would be based on deflation. Do you think that this is important to the country? Because, look, prices are out of control. Gas is rising every day. The price of milk is rising every day. Price of everything is rising
Jabroni, you
every
bring
day.
up a really good point. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Deflation
Ted.
is a huge aspect of what's going wrong with this country today. And with the deflation, and nobody is better at deflating than Tom Brady.
Tom Brady
All right,
could do that. Tom Brady
he's
could
proved
do that.
it, and let me just go on record and say he served his 4 weeks. He's back, and he's beating some ass, people. Okay,
Hey, Ted, if
he's
you don't,
beating some ass.
Ted, if you don't mind me asking a question, I know, based on what I know about you and the friendship that we have forged over the years, you are a diehard Patriots fan.
Yes.
Tell me again why you're sitting here today in a Vikings jersey.
Oh, cause the Bears beat the shit out of them Vikings, huh? And I'm a Bear. See that?
Oh!
So I had to give a shout out
I
to
like that.
Who's that piece of shit sidekick you got? Yeah.
What, Loki?
Yeah.
No, he's a good guy. You got to leave
That
him
guy
alone.
right there. That's who I'm doing this
Let me
for.
ask you a question. Who could be a better sidekick for me, a better partner for me, a better friend for me doing this show
You know
than
that
Loki?
You know who's funnier than that guy?
Who's funnier
You know
than
that fucking deflated ball you're always busting Tom Brady's balls about?
Yup.
Yeah, that fucking thing.
You talking about-
that thing could be a
Are you
better
talking about Tom
sidekick
Brady?
than- No, I'm talking about that football. I said that football could be a better sidekick than
I don't
your
know that I
sidekick
would
now.
get as much wisdom and knowledge out of a deflated football, but I'll take it.
I heard they were going to investigate the football, but Comey decided not to push forward.
Yeah, well, Clinton lost those emails.
She deleted the emails.
Tom Brady
She
could do that.
lost
Tom
him.
Brady could do that.
Hillary Clinton could do that.
Hillary Clinton could do that, but Ted, I want to thank you for joining us today. Always a pleasure having you here. You're drinking Loki's beer. When he gets back, he's going to be pissed, but
He might be.
he might be. Who could drink that beer better than you?
Well, Gronkowski.
Oh, that's a good call. Gronkowski could do that. So those of you on Facebook Live, say hello to Ted. For those of you listening on the podcast platforms everywhere, say goodbye to Ted.
All right, I got to go play with the fuzzy dragon.
All right.
Tom Brady could do that. Tom Brady could do that.
That's the best gimmick ever, is that Tom Brady thing.
It was nice of Ted to stop by.
It was nice of Ted to stop by. It's not often we get a movie star here. A couple shout-outs before he goes into top 10. Once again, Constitution State Wrestling is holding their inaugural show on December 3rd, 2016. They are asking, and we are in negotiation right now to have Loki and Jabroni there.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Streaming,
I'm excited
showing the
about that.
matches, and quite possibly having one or both of us be a part of the festivities in ring. We don't know anything right now, but what we know is that if everything goes right, Loki, Jabroni, Focus, Rachel, and the Immortal, Lady J, whomever else wants to be there, we will be there because it's all about local helping local. And former guest
Absolutely.
Nat Peterson is running the entire event. He runs that promotion. Let's show some support.
We love the support.
You got any final thought? I know you have a final thought. Ed,
You want to do this now?
I think we should do it now before top 10.
Let's do
I
it now
really
before top
do.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. I thought it'd be a good idea to. We know one of them is going to be the new president
Unfortunately.
on Tuesday.
Um,
And you can include the third parties if you want.
I already did.
Yes.
You include them if you want. Okay, so
It goes to show you how stupid like each part of the country is.
Right.
Like, they don't even realize that there's other fucking candidates. We don't have to vote
Mm-hmm.
for these idiots.
well, a lot of them realize it, but they just like they feel like
refuse to acknowledge.
they're throwing their vote away.
That's what
Yeah.
they think. That's a bullshit statement.
You know, a vote for Abraham Lincoln was throwing their vote away.
Yeah, how'd he do? Oh, really fucking good, by the way.
He got shot. Anyway, but
I'm not saying how did it end. I'm saying how did he do?
All right, so out of you can choose 2, or you can do all 4 of the. We're talking the major candidates. Okay,
I chose 3. I didn't.
Name something you look forward to in such candidates' presidency, and name something that you are not looking forward to, or you are deathly scared of.
You pick the first name. We'll go around.
All right,
the table.
so out of the candidates up right now
Up to
that
the
I'm
4
looking
major
forward to.
candidates, or you can just do the 2 major ones.
Now, real quick, do I have to really believe in it? Because there's some things that Trump has said.
Here's the thing.
No, I agree with you.
Which I would love, but I think it's bullshit and it'll never happen.
I do have some rules I want to lay out.
Go ahead.
Okay, you can't say it's not her, it's not him. Okay, you can't. Not like the scandals. Well, he did this, she did this.
Right,
okay.
right.
But let's talk what they're going to do, or they said they've going to done. I know
right.
with Trump it's hard, but what they've said they're going to done.
Okay,
what's something you look forward to and something you're scared of?
Now that you've written down the rules, it kind of kills one of my arguments for. It kills one of my arguments for the candidate.
All right, so
Not again.
I'm going to break it down real quick. Number 1,
Pick one. You pick the first name. We'll go around the table.
I am going to be for Hillary for one thing.
Okay, we'll start with Clinton.
Education. I love how she really is about the kids. She has kind of been about the kids for a long time. That's one thing. That's one thing you can't take away from her. And we are last in so many categories when it comes to schooling. And there isn't enough good teachers out there that need to take care of these kids that, it does. It needs to step up. They have literally taken funds from schools to the point where they're pretty much begging parents for donations almost every other month. It really is ridiculous. So if I had to pick something beneficial from one of these candidates, I would say Hillary Clinton, and the fact that she really wants to boost up the education. I believe in that. I do.
What is one thing you dread about a Hillary Clinton presidency?
Just what I want to say for the dreading of her, it's going to be almost, I feel like our individualism, our individualism as far as us is going to be jeopardized. It's almost like I feel like a new world order almost rushes in as she opens the gates of hell, sort of say. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the whole cliche woman president thing, because that's not even. It's her herself. It's what she stands behind. It's everything that she's brought forward. You know what I'm saying? Like she's glimmering me with this thing that she knows I like, much like Lucifer knows the things that I like.
Right.
And says, hey, here's what I want to do for children, because I know that you like children and I know you like education. But as soon as you walk through this door, give me your soul. And it's like
fair.
That's what I honestly I believe Sam and Dean are going to come forward and save the day from.
You're talking about a new world order, huh? This podcast has been paid for by the New World Order.
Just put a pair of shades on her. Seriously, that's.
When does she say, "Hey, yo"? That's my question.
When she's bending you over and it's too late.
This presidency has been paid for by the New World Order. That was fantastic.
On to you.
All right. With Clinton, if she's elected president, I look forward to her working for families, women, and children, which, for all the bad things you can say about Hillary Clinton, she's always worked hard toward women, children, and families. I don't want to say poverty level, but there is a track record there of her working to help women and children. Maybe not so much nuclear families, which we all know nuclear families means mom, dad, and children. Mm-hmm. But she does work hard to make sure that women and children have something that they can, have for themselves and to build a better life. The thing that I dread is that there's a huge lack of trust in Hillary Clinton insofar as her track record of misdeeds and controversies. To be a president, and I think the lowest entry approval level was Jimmy Carter back in '76. Ed can fact check that, and he's nodding, so I'm pretty sure that's. I tried to do.
He
a
did
little-
have a really low approval level
coming in, yeah. So I have
going out too.
Yeah, and that comes up in another one of these later on. It's very difficult to get behind a president that has a low approval rating the minute they walk into office. Obama was like wicked high when he came in because he spoke of change, he spoke of this, he spoke of that, and not a whole lot of that came true, so the approval rating shot down quickly. With Hillary Clinton, I think if she's elected, the mistrust of a nation is going to impede her from day one. She's going to have a low approval rating. If she goes lower than Carter, it would be, to me, it would be like a benchmark. How do so many people put their
I think
faith
W did go that low.
It would be a nice fuck you,
after
though.
the fact, though, not initially.
Like in his last term, I think he did.
His last term, his approval rating was below the floor. But to come in with a low approval rating like Carter did back in '76, which astounds me because Carter not only won the popular vote, he won the electoral vote, and he's the president in '76, if I'm not mistaken. So, yay, Jimmy Carter, the president of the United States. He had the lowest approval rating of any incoming president in history. That's a long fucking time. Now,
Oh, yeah.
so that's what I fear about a Hillary Clinton presidency is that she's going to come in with like the lowest approval rating ever. Do I think the same of Donald Trump? Yes, but I have my other misgivings about Donald Trump, but that's for when his name comes up. But for me, Hillary Clinton's going to come in with the lowest approval rating of any president if she's elected in November 8th, 1 week from today.
So what do you got?
Ed.
Well, on Hillary Clinton, and a lot of people will find this odd. I know if Jason's out there listening, he's going to go through the roof. On immigration, with the exception of one thing, I actually think she has the best policy. Strangely enough.
Really?
Yes, because one of the things she wants to do is eliminate the 3-year and 10-year ban on people who get kicked out. Now, she wants to lift that for people with families, because what usually ends up happening is you get deported if you have family here. The kids are actually citizens, the parents are not. And what happens is the state actually, after the state or the federal government kicks them out, then the state charges them with child abandonment. And so even if they come back in 10 years, they go right to jail.
Yeah.
Wow.
So one of the things she wants to do is lift that. And she also has, they all kind of do, but she has intentions of dealing. She's the only one that actually has plans of dealing with the people that are already here.
Which you got to do because
yes.
they're already integrated into the system.
Right.
They're already
Nobody-
here.
Obviously, yeah.
Nobody else, aside from Donald Trump, who
Yeah. That's what scares me about him is his immigration policies.
We're going to get to him in a minute.
We'll get to him. Something that scares the shit out of me with her is her intention on creating no-fly zones over Syria.
Okay, stop. Timeout. Offsides. Clipping. If you're the president of the United States, you can enforce no-fly zones over your own land. Explain to me in 50 words or less how you can enforce a no-fly zone over a country that you do not lead.
I'll just say ding, 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 ding 50 times.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Okay, we've talked about this before. I have certain issues when it comes to foreign policy, and things like no-fly zones, sanctions, things like that are really an act of war.
Right.
No, absolutely. No,
So-
it is.
so-
It's taking away your right, your independence of
Individual liberty.
that's your territory, regardless if it's fucking if
Yeah,
it's air
so-
or not, man.
So even with like a country like Iran, which is I would hardly call it a very stable country.
No.
Okay, you put
That's titled loosely, yeah.
you put sanctions on that country because you don't like their leadership, you don't want them getting nuclear weapons. I understand the arguments for that, and I hear it, but when you do a sanction, you hurt the people of that country. Okay, the fat cats in government are going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody over here, nobody in Congress is starving.
No,
All right,
of course
so
not.
so if a bunch of countries put sanctions on us, the only people it's going to hurt is us.
Yeah.
Our cars are going to be more expensive, all that. It's going to hurt us. Okay? parts for your car is going to be more expensive. You work on yours. You might not be able to because
Like I need that
it's going to
shit
cost
right
you
now.
$1,000 for a tire.
Right.
You know, that's just an example. But
Right.
so the fact she intends to put a no-fly zone in Syria, knowing that Russia is flying over Syria. Now, Russia is a Syrian ally. They're an ally with Assad, and I'm not going to get into the debate whether that's good, bad, or whatever.
Right.
Okay. If you do a no-fly zone over Syria, you are basically saying, cross this line, and we're going to kill you.
Yeah, it's an act of war.
It's an act of
It's an
war.
act
I was
of
just
war.
about to say that. Good
Yeah.
job by you.
Okay. So that scares me most about Hillary Clinton.
Oh, how quickly she's willing to just go into
Right.
war for this. Yeah.
Add to that, I mean, this is just a side note, add to that her intention to put women in the draft. Scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I have to stop you. I have to stop you. And I know we have two ladies in the room, but look, for years, women are fighting for equality. Equality in pay, equality in rights, equality in everything. And I get it. I am so down with it. Women should get paid as much, if not more, as men for the jobs. Any job. Any job. Women should go to war just like men.
Okay. My response to that is no, I don't think we should have a draft
I don't think so either.
because slavery was abolished.
Agreed.
Yeah, but the reason why
here
the
comes-
reason
I'm
reason
gonna
why
take
you
this.
incorporate a draft is because you know that you're going to war.
I'll
Exactly,
quote
but-
Muhammad Ali. I don't have any beef with no Viet Cong.
No Viet Cong ever called me. Excuse me to our black listeners,
Don't say it.
African American. I have to. This is a direct quote. Muhammad Ali said, "No Viet Cong ever called me a nigger." And you know what? I agree with that. Now, I'm going to give this microphone to one of these two ladies.
We had a discussion about this with karaoke, and there's a song where they break it down and they say the N-word.
Yeah.
And this was a white girl, white as white can be, that sang the song.
Whiter
and
than
I
sheets.
told her, don't say the word right now. This bar is full of African black Americans. They are not happy to be hearing this word coming from you. Did she shut her mouth?
Of course not.
No. She sang that loud and proud.
I'm going to hand my microphone over to Lady J. And I'm going to ask this question as clear and as concise and as just as honest as I can. Do you think women and men are 100% equal?
No,
Why not?
because we're not meant to be equal.
But
Exactamundo.
ERA, wait, and I follow you. But ERA will tell you that women and men are exactly equal 100%. Why do you disagree?
Because the way man and women were created, they were created to complete each other, to help each other. One is not good at something the other is. You know, the man was made to be built and strong and take care of his home, and the woman was also built to take care of the home, but in her own way. You know, we have what one side is with the other. One hand washes the other. We are never equal because we were never meant to be equal.
That is, thank you. That's all I needed. That was the best answer I've ever heard in regard to men and women's equality. Now, for all you ERA nuts out there, Eddie's laughing, but I'm going to call you nuts. Janelle just put it into the most incredible perspective ever. We're equal, but we're not equal. And that's just something you have to deal with.
Listen, in a mindset and a heart, yes, we are.
Bingo.
As far as how we're created, no, she hit the nail on the head. We
Absolutely.
are designed differently, and we're designed differently for a reason. We're supposed to complement each other. We're supposed to be a team.
Say that word
The
again.
term,
Say that word again.
Supposed to be a team.
Well, the term
Bingo.
equality is a loaded term. Like
nobody would need each other.
Right.
equality
Go
is a
ahead.
loaded term. That guy T on his YouTube page summed it up best. Like equality would mean a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old could both work in porn, and I'm totally cool. I'm totally cool with that not happening.
Okay, Jared.
Okay.
Oh wait, you said not
No.
happening. No. Okay, you're clear.
No,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
absolutely.
Pulling Jared off the table.
Equality is a loaded term, so it's not. Here's the thing: there's a difference between equality of outcome and equality of opportunity.
I know this is going to go so
Everybody
far.
has the same equality of opportunity.
I know this is going to go so far west of the point.
But listen, regarding
Go ahead.
women being drafted, the only reason why you do such incredible things such as this or out of nowhere is because you're going to war.
Right.
And you're going in such a bad spot that you know that you're losing so many troops.
You're a vet.
Yeah.
I'm a vet.
But you know you're losing so many troops
Right.
that you're just trying
Stop.
to fill in the blanks.
All right. Do I think that that any one of the women that we have in our lives couldn't go out and kill a bunch of motherfuckers on the other side?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not thinking.
But-
they
No,
can't
that's
do
what I'm
it.
saying. Absolutely no. They could do it probably. And as a matter of fact,
You're the only sexist in the room right
as
now.
yeah,
Rachel,
I
Rachel.
agree. I agree. No, I agree. No,
Now.
I agree. I
Now.
agree. There is
Go ahead
if
with your
you
point.
if you like I said, not a lot of readers out there of Walking Dead, but one of the biggest things about the comic book that differs from the show is Andrea. Andrea is dead by like the third season.
But she's
Andrea
still
in the
alive on
comic
the-
book, in the comic
Yeah.
book, she's a badass. She is the best sniper that they freaking have. Like she holds Rick together. Rick
Technology-
has a broken fucking leg, a missing hand, and if it's not for Andrea, Rick is nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Technology helps us overcome our limitations. It helps
True.
you,
Yes.
him, me, whatever.
Yes.
True.
That's the idea. Do I think women can't do it? No, absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I don't. Here's the thing. If I don't believe in something in principle, I don't want the government expanding it.
Agreed.
It's not a question of not being able to do it. It's a question of I don't want it.
Right.
No,
You don't want it. You don't want it
draft,
forced.
in my opinion,
you don't want
Get out
it
of my
forced
head, Eddie
upon you.
Focus.
This is why I always argue the whole they should be mandatory military. Fuck no.
No.
Slavery was abolished. And
Right.
I don't care what you say. You make me do something against my will, it's slavery.
Right.
Okay? It's not civic duty. It's not patriotism. It's fucking slavery.
Look, I believe
and if status out there can't handle that, too fucking bad.
I believe that in maybe an office setting, a retail setting, a welding setting, whatever your chosen profession is, men and women should be equal. When it comes to putting your life on the line like that, and like Janelle said, there are certain things that men and women were built to do. From the dark ages till today, men were built to be warriors.
And they could easily build themselves up.
No, I mean there's female
like
warriors.
Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's a perfect example.
Exactly.
So she whoops ass.
Well,
And
not just Ronda Rousey. A lot of the women in that
I'm using her an
division.
example. 'Cause
Right.
she's the
I
name
mean,
that
yeah,
comes
no,
to mind.
absolutely, yeah.
Ronda Rousey,
she's one of the
Holly
biggest.
Holm, Misha Tate. I get where you're going.
Yeah.
But what bothers me, and I'll say this in front of the two women, is that there's this perception that the femininity can be used not by these two ladies or not by the Immortal or not by anybody else who's listening to this, is like,
But
I can kick your ass. I can kick your ass.
Let's
And
be honest. Let's be
Go ahead,
honest.
go ahead.
In a war scenario, when we get captured, there is an option of us just becoming POWs and that's it, right?
Correct.
When they get captured, there is an entire different scenario that you're
without
throwing back
question.
on there. You know what I'm saying?
You hit the
and
nail on the
look,
head.
you could turn around and say, look, they can do that to guys just as easy. Yes, you are right.
Well,
but
that's not
do
what I was
they?
gonna say.
But do they? No, they don't. Because it's a woman, though.
Wait, they do, but not with the soldiers that they capture, because there are stories corroborated from Vietnam, from Korea, from World War II, where they bring children from a village or from a town or whatever, and the higher-ups are having these kids as sex slaves.
Right.
So,
See, here's
yes, it does happen, but I see your point, and I agree with it.
Here's the thing, though. There are inherited risks with serving.
Yes.
We all know that.
Just like
Okay.
being a police officer,
In
just
an
like being a
all-
firefighter, just like
In
being
an all
a
voluntary.
veteran.
Bingo.
Here's the thing:
Big
in an
fist
all
bump for you.
voluntary service, you accept that could possibly happen. Man,
Right.
woman, child, whatever. Well, not child. I hope not.
Hopefully
but man,
not.
women, you accept that.
But Hillary becomes
if-
president, you never know.
If the recruiter's doing his job, and saying, listen, it's like you can be in a combat role, but here's the thing, things might be worse for you if you were ever captured. Do you still want to do this?
Right.
Okay, and then you accept that responsibility, and that's fine.
All we're doing is ensuring a nation of women who come out more fucked up than men.
Exactly. And
Can you repeat her point so everybody can hear?
all
it?
we're doing is creating a nation of women who come out more fucked up than when they went in.
Right.
But that happens to everybody.
Agreed.
No, it
It's
does.
happening
It does. It does.
But now take
Women
that.
have more of a chance of being raped and tortured.
Well, that was going to my point.
Right.
That's why now if it's no longer voluntary, it's worse
yes.
because now you've been raped by your government, and you're raped by
Raped
somebody
by
else.
the enemy.
Right by the enemy.
Let's move on.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we're moving on because we still got another candidate, possibly four.
We had two more candidates that I have on my page, but for you,
I
Donald-
thought we were doing just Maine too.
Oh, I did.
I already told you my biggest fear about Donald is his immigration. He's just so fucking full of shit. I'm sorry, dude. Like you just can't just be like, get the fuck out. There's just too many. There's just too much. They're intertwined in communities. You know what I'm saying? They're children. They themselves are parents. They're intertwined in the school systems. There's some good. And I'm going to say this, there's some good immigrants that I personally know that I work with that, yes, I understand that they are not supposed to be here because they did do it illegally. But look, they give so much back to the community, more than the average Joe does every fucking day.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that some of these people don't deserve to be here. They do sometimes
They
more than
probably
some of the,
deserve to be here
than
more
some
than
of the
people
more
that
the other
were
people
born
that
here.
do. That more than some of the other
Exactly.
people do.
Say it again.
This country was founded on
The country was founded on
it always-
immigrants.
it always
Thank
has,
you.
always
At the
will be.
base of the Statue of Liberty, if you've never been to the Statue of Liberty, get your ass there now. Salute the fucking Statue of Liberty. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. And that's what the immigration originally was all about. Originally. I'm not saying that today. I'm saying that is what the country was founded on. Thank you, Lady J. What do you look forward to?
What I like about it was when he pretty much flat out said, car companies, look, if you leave this country and you try to bring cars back, I'm going to throw a tax on that that's going to make you not want to sell these freaking cars here because it's going to be so ridiculous that no one's going to buy your product. Forcing companies not to fly out to another freaking company just because we're taxing them here. And I hope to God, you know, like somebody holds that because I'm sick and tired of seeing companies turn tail run, leaving out the country. You know, it's just.
And then sending their product back for a higher rate.
Or less than a higher rate because they're getting fucking within a taxation. It's
all right. For me, what I look forward to a Donald Trump presidency is that, look, this is a guy who's been a businessman for 30, 40, however many years. He's failed and he's succeeded in equal measure. I've always said from like 1996, I've said we need a businessman to run this country. We need a guy that understands profit and loss. We need a guy who understands that the country in and of itself is a business. We need someone that can lead us to prosperity by commerce. That's what I look forward to if Donald Trump is elected president.
If that's the case.
What I dread is his lack of tact and his lack of a verbal filter, because that could be a detriment to not only domestic affair but to foreign affair. Let's throw Cuba into the mix. You know, I know that talks are open with Cuba. I know we're opening the line of trade, if I'm reading everything correctly.
Oh, yeah.
We're opening the line of trade with Cuba once again. So now Cuban cigars are okay and everything, you know. The minute, and I think Castro's still in power. He's like 149
No,
fucking
his
years
brother
old.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But-
He's retired.
Whomever says something that pisses Donald Trump off,
Raul Castro.
okay. So if he says something that pisses Trump off, with his lack of tact and verbal filter, says, fuck you, I'm not having it, you're out, you're fired, or whatever
Or
it is.
he gets off the plane and goes, Hey, that's a nice turban. What's that? Fucking crap on the side of that?
Pretty much.
And it's actually like a birth, a birth insignia put into the turban.
This guy has done business all around the world. So he has the knowledge of what it's like to deal with foreign countries.
I can see that. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
For foreign policy, you have to have tact. You have to have a little decorum. You have to be able to speak to someone.
You have to be able to grab him in the pussy.
Pretty much. But the minute he says something like that, everything's off, and now we're back. We're taking one step forward and 50 steps back.
We're right back to grabbing him in the pussy.
That's what scares me about a Donald Trump presidency. The floor now belongs to Ed.
Ooh, I know everybody's waiting for this one.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I haven't had anything nice to say about the man.
I'm waiting for the one nice thing.
That's true.
One nice thing that I look forward to in a Donald Trump presidency, if it happens, is very recently he actually outlined his health care plan. And even though I don't like it when politicians lay out health care plans, because I think the government should get out of health care, a lot of the things he was talking about doing was repealing Obamacare, for one.
Has to happen.
Getting rid of that.
Good.
Getting
Sorry,
rid of that
people.
forced mandate.
Sorry.
He says nobody should be forced to buy insurance if you
Agreed.
don't need it. And opening up the insurance market statewide, so you don't just have 10 companies to choose from. You'll have hundreds of companies, and they'll be forced to compete with each other, and the prices will go down.
Yeah.
That's great.
Or the coverage will get better. One of those two things will happen. That's a free market solution. It's a very libertarian solution.
Great idea.
Yeah, it's a libertarian solution. I kind of get behind that. So if it's true, if that's what he plans.
Again, we've been lied to by politicians all of our natural lives.
But on paper, it's a great idea.
Right.
Let me bring up one quote. Read my lips. No new taxes. What happened 6 months into George Sr.? Super tax. Exactly.
Finish him.
Right? It was like fucking Mortal Kombat, but in a tax version. What do you dread about a Donald Trump presidency?
The thing I dread about Donald Trump is the thing he likes.
Which is?
Taxing
honestly,
companies.
this whole idea that he is going to penalize companies for leaving the country, I have serious issues with that. Like, he's talking about doing tariffs, they're called, basically tariffs. It's like, I'm gonna tax all your goods that come in so they don't sell over here. I have problems with that, like on many levels. One, it's not.
Well, I don't think you should have to leave the country, man. Like, if you founded your shit here in America, it's where you should stay. Just because just because shit's fucking hit the fan, like, what, you're gonna go turn tail and run over here to this country because it's cheaper to manufacture, and then you're gonna turn around and then send your shit back here, make 3 times what you were making over there, just because you're skating underneath.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, the American public pays less.
If that's the case, which 9 times out of 10,
you know what? We talked about Denmark earlier. You know how much a car is in Denmark? For my car in Denmark is $30,000.
Really?
Yeah, because they do something very similar. They tariff the shit out of companies. So if they want to bring a car over there, so your car, what was your car run for brand new? 55, 60?
Oh, the new A4 probably. Yeah. No, it's probably like 32,000.
If Trump got his way, that car is going to be $120,000.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, nobody will ever be able to buy it except the top earners. All right. Now, somebody evoked tariffs similar to this, and it brought us into the Great Depression because they tariffed everything.
Something I read recently.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, the central bank at the time, it wasn't called the Federal Reserve. The central bank at the time it was the Federal Reserve. They had established it. Didn't do his job. It was bad monetary policy. So the stock market crashed. Stock market crashes. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It crashes. Yeah. Okay. So right after it crashes, what do? They invoke this Stuart Smalley tariff. And it put high taxes on imported goods. So what happened is companies stopped selling stuff, particularly Japan at the time, because we used to get steel from them.
Correct.
They stopped sending steel over here. the price of steel went up, the price of everything went up. Nobody could afford it. So factories that used to make cars, stuff like that, started closing. Other companies that use steel started closing. It created the chain reaction of things closing. So in the end, nobody gained from tariffs. They just didn't. So then FDR started creating this really big welfare state that we still haven't quite been able to get out of. I mean, economists will argue back and forth, but we haven't really been able to get out of it.
Probably no. That
It's
a
impossible.
true statement.
At some point, it's impossible not to be dependent on some level of government. Like everybody has to.
At some point, yes.
Everybody has to, and it's like the way things are now. Like nobody has any savings.
No, it's true.
Nobody has any savings. Billionaires are forced to take their money out of the country because of our ridiculous tax system.
Yeah.
With no savings, banks don't give loans to entrepreneurs. There are no new businesses that pop up.
Right.
And if there are no new businesses, all these other ones create monopolies. That's why there's no new Apple computers. There's no new AT&Ts or anything like that.
You're not going to get the next big thing based on the current status.
Can't be afforded, right? Can't be afforded.
So the only way, if there's no savings, the only way to finance new businesses and stuff is to create money. Okay. And you create money, the money you have in your pocket, I have in my pocket, becomes less valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't even do anything. You're just sitting home, and all of a sudden, that
your
whatever you got for $1 now is
$0.97.
Right.
But it's now $1.50.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, pick one.
Yeah, but also what you have in your pocket, your dollar is now worth 97 cents.
Exactly.
They raised shit to $1.50, and now your dollar value has dropped down.
Let me summarize, because I don't want to feel like I'm like digging at you or anything. I totally get why you would feel that way, and I totally get why a bunch of people feel that way. Everybody's been shafted by a company.
Oh yeah.
And here comes this guy.
Verizon.
Right. Here comes this guy. Here comes this guy. He gets up there and he's like, "Did you get fucked over by a company? Well, you know what? I'm gonna fuck him back for you."
Yeah.
You know what?
90% of the general population would say, "I'm behind you,"
and that's what's happening. But the truth of the matter is, like, and I think Donald Trump is a con man.
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely.
He's a fucking con man.
I'm voting Johnson just so
somebody had to say it. Thank you, Eddie.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No. It's already happened. My guy was Bernie from day one, and Bernie is out. Like I've made it.
Bernie again Bernie had some of the same problems and a lot of the same policy positions that Trump has when it comes to the economy, which used to scare me.
Yeah.
And you look at a socialist country gone wrong. You look at Venezuela right now. They're fucking.
Right.
They just, what they did. They just fired their government or something. They did something where like they totally fired their government, saying, "You know what, you fucked up too bad. You're fired.
You're out."
Yeah, because they're like compulsing people to like do different jobs. You're like, "Oh, you're a lawyer, now you're a farmer." That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
They did that here at one point, actually during the Great Depression, because a lot of people think consumption drives an economy. It doesn't. Production drives the economy. Okay, so that's why when you do
if you have no goods, right? If you have no goods, you're not fucking selling.
The more goods you have, the cheaper they are.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the thing, and this is where environmentalists don't understand. That's why I don't think there should be environmental laws, because if we buy all our raw materials from another country, we're basically subsidizing our environment because they're going to ruin theirs for us.
To kill ours, yeah.
So, like, when Japan was, like, giving us all their steel, Milton Friedman, who was an economist back then, used to say, well, if they want to subsidize our environment, why not let them?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I totally get it. Like, a lot of the auto workers, I feel like got fucked over by Ford and all them. I totally get that, why people get behind that. It just, when you really look at history and you just can't, it just scares me. It just scares me because if people don't have money, they don't buy things, and I'm in a position.
Absolutely.
I'm in a position where I need people to buy things.
Right. Now let's move and without saying a word, let's pick one third-party candidate. I got a good feeling that we're all going to pick the same one. One third-party candidate.
Joe Exotic. One thing I'm scared of. Never mind.
Let's pick one third-party candidate that we look forward to and that we dread, and I'll start with you.
Joe Exotic. If he if he becomes president, I fear that he's just going to throw parties every day and never get anything done. And this party will just, this company,
That's what you dread.
Done.
It's that civil suit. It really
It's
bothers
done.
you, doesn't
It's done. It's done. Yeah, it's done.
What do you look forward to in Joe Exotic as president?
If he becomes president, I'm looking forward to the free porn
Wow.
that's going to be lifted in this world.
You're going to be flogging the dolphins 6 times
You
a day.
do remember he's gay and he's only been with 2 men, but
Right.
they were
One is
monogamous.
his
Hey,
current
whatever
husband.
he wants to watch for
But
porn.
he's married. He's
but
married.
whatever works for porn for him doesn't have to work for me as long as it's free at the end of the day.
All right.
That's what Henry Rollins says.
That's what I
Yes, he
said.
does. Hoping to get Henry on the show soon. I chose Gary Johnson, obviously. What am I dreading? Is that 90% of America and many and no, that's not what it is. 90% of America and like 100% of the uneducated, unwashed skells of this country, and you know who you are, would treat him like dirt and not respect him because you didn't do enough homework to figure out this guy has plans for this country. And I brought him up earlier, Jimmy fucking Carter. If Gary Johnson were to become president, and I hope he does, 90% of the American population is going to treat him like dirt from the word go. And that's your fault,
I can see
America. That really is, because you continue to live under this umbrella that only Republicans or Democrats are fit to run this country. Let me explain something in my own words, and I'm going to take 30 seconds. Republicans and Democrats have brought us to where we are right now. Republicans and Democrats have ruined this country, and they continue to shit on each other. Maybe, just maybe, we need an independent. We need a libertarian. We need a Green Party. We need, as much as I hate to say this, maybe we need a Tea Party. Maybe we need someone from the... I know, but you have to hear the rest of the point. We need someone from the outside of the big two to show you that there is another option to make this country wonderful and to have us prosper one more time. Like we did, I don't know, 90 years ago, when right after the Great Depression, we started to come up again. And then the IRS was born and all that other bullshit. And say it. Just say it. I want to hear you say it.
Taxation is theft.
Say it.
Thank you.
Say it.
Let's go back to prosperity. And maybe, just maybe, the Libertarian Party or the Green Party or the Tea Party or someone else can show you the way. What I fear about a Gary Johnson presidency is that nobody's going to take him seriously. What I look forward to, 3 words. President Gary Johnson. That's it. He's got my vote. And anybody who disagrees with me, that's fine. Tell me why. In an intelligent forum. Don't tell me he's a fucking moron because he doesn't know Aleppo. Well, that makes you a moron because you haven't listened to what the man has to say.
And you probably didn't know what Aleppo was before he even said it.
Exactly. Thank you, Eddie. None of you. And all right, let me not say none of you. 80% of you didn't know Aleppo. You couldn't find Aleppo on a fucking map before that happened. I guarantee that. But as soon as it came out, Gary Johnson didn't know Aleppo. And you looked and you found out, you went to your little Google machine and went to Wikipedia and found out where Aleppo, Syria was. Now you know. But it took Gary Johnson to get you there, didn't it?
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly. Knowing is half the battle. That's for me, and I already told you my vote has already been cast, Gary fucking Johnson. And if I could, let me addendum this, if I could today, I would vote for Henry Rollins as president, and if I could tender a vote for vice president, it'd be Jesse fucking Ventura. That's the ticket in 2020. If they don't run for president, I'll kill them both. Which means I probably just killed off a future guest.
Wow, that was deep.
No, it wasn't. It was fucking real. Go ahead, Ed. Third party.
Well, I don't like to think of it as third party. I like to think of it as my
You
party.
have to think of it in the way that the people understand it.
I like to think of it as the party of principle.
Agreed.
One thing there's a lot I like about Gary Johnson, but the one I like most about it is he's willing to actually take a good hard look at some of the mistakes of the foreign policy, and he's willing to say, like for example, with Aleppo and Syria and all that, he's not afraid to say, "I'm not going to do anything." They ask him, "What are you going to do?" Like, "I'm not going to do anything."
Take care of home first.
It's not
Right.
What's the point? Like, every time we engage in regime change, it goes wrong. It goes horribly wrong.
Take care of home first.
So from that aspect, like he has a really core libertarian principle. And going back to our conversation about the draft real quick, if a bunch of angry whatever come over the shores, give me a gun. I don't care. That's fine. Give me a gun. Hand it to me.
I can see you shooting a motherfucker or two.
Yeah, hand it to me. If you expect me to die in a foreign country for someone else, no, fuck no. I don't see the heroism in that. I don't. I'm not saying these guys aren't heroes, but I don't want to end like that.
Understood.
Right.
I just don't.
I'm right there with you.
How do you argue with that?
No, I agree.
I've had friends that died overseas. I agree with him 100%.
If we are going to engage in something like that, and this is another core libertarian philosophy, there's a declaration of war by Congress. The president goes in, cleans house, and he leaves. There's a clear strategy. So let's say we declared war against Syria, and maybe this is heartless. Carpet bomb the fuck out of Syria, then we leave. It's like war's over.
I want to read.
That's a libertarian philosophy.
I want to read to you something, and I believe this walks into your point. It will. This is from the current book. I'm gonna lift this up. It's Jesse Ventura's Marijuana Manifesto. I want to read to you from the Mexican Constitution. According to the Mexican Constitution, the government cannot pass any law that prohibits the free development of a Mexican citizen's personality. This goes exactly to everything you've ever said, Ed. In fact, the Mexican Constitution states that all Mexican citizens have the right to develop their own unique personalities without the government or anyone else restricting their right thereof. How do you develop a unique personality? By doing what you want as long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's rights. Under their constitution, Mexicans have the fundamental right to personal identity, self-image, free development of personality, self-determination, and individual liberty, which arise from the same recognition of human dignity and the right to health. Now, does that include war? According to the Mexican Constitution, no, it does not.
Why are they jumping the border? It sounds like a great thing.
Again,
they have economic issues.
They do, but at the same time, if I had the choice and I could, and financially I could get myself from Norwich, Connecticut to fucking Tijuana, I'd live in Mexico tomorrow.
Jesse Ventura does live in Mexico.
Yes, he does.
Think
out
about
of the
this.
year.
Some of them have actually taken that opposite walk. They've actually walked
yes,
from
they
Tijuana
have.
to Norwich, Connecticut, or to Hartford, Connecticut.
But to some of them, it's because of, again, we'll go into this in a couple weeks, and I'll preface this now. We'll go into this in a couple weeks because there are certain elements in their society that forces or compels them to go above.
Right.
And I say above because Mexico's here, the United States is here, for those of you watching on YouTube. If not, if you've never seen a fucking map before, Mexico is south of the United States. You have to go up to get to the United States.
Yeah,
north.
pretty easy.
Right. So that goes into everything you've ever said from day one, the first time you ever sat in our podcast.
Well, it's about everything should be about the individual liberty. It should not be about the
I
group.
Agree. I
should
agree.
not be about the collective.
Don't expect me to live your life.
Right. Don't expect me to dictate how you live
Right.
yours.
Or as long as you don't infringe on other people's properties or anybody else's things,
not just property, their own personal fucking choices.
Yeah,
don't hurt me.
themselves.
Don't hurt me. Don't take my stuff. That's a core philosophy.
Right.
Let me.
Yeah.
I want to raise my hand. You're 420 proud. If somebody came to you and said, just from their own whatever, and said, you really shouldn't do that because blah, 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 and sis, boom, bah, and 6 of one and half dozen of the other, are you offended?
Say thanks for the advice.
Say, all right, cool. Have a good day, bro.
Okay, fair enough. But that doesn't even a little bit bother
You shouldn't, no. You shouldn't smoke cigarettes, or you shouldn't eat as much
Well,
candy as you do.
Look,
or
I could today.
Or you shouldn't have 4 cups of coffee.
What I say to you,
or you shouldn't have fucking strawberry milkshakes. I don't give a shit what you fucking do.
Is one thing. What I say to you, I don't smoke.
Right.
I tell Mike
I don't smoke either.
Here's the thing. What I say to you is
Often.
one thing. The idea of individualism and personal liberty is that the government doesn't interfere with how you want to live. So I could
Right.
say, dude, smoking so much is bad for you.
Once,
No harm, no foul.
Once the three of us get deeper into this book, you'll understand.
When the government comes in and says, I think it's bad for you, so you're stopping.
Right. That's
And actually, I brought this up to Jason today on Facebook. Like with any law, you have to. Whenever they present a law, and I know there's going to some people are going to be like, "Oh, that's bullshit." When you start a law, any law, and the government signs off on it, they've essentially signed off that the government, police, whatever,
Is
police or
smarter
government.
than you.
Well, no.
are upholding this law.
Police or government has the right to enforce that law with any means necessary, up to and including killing someone.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you think any law, like there are people that have ended up getting shot over parking tickets, okay, by police. Eric Garner got choked to death in New York with selling untaxed cigarettes. And with violence, the government should have a monopoly on violence. I do agree with that, but we got to be very careful about our laws, because my opinion is, if you have a law, if I myself as a citizen cannot enforce that law, it shouldn't be passed. So if I can't use force up to and including killing someone, it should not be a law. So if you personally walked up, saw Eric Garner selling untaxed cigarettes, and you shot him, called the police and said, "Guy was selling untaxed cigarettes, so I shot him," they're not going to have your back. You're going to go to jail.
Of course.
Okay?
Because you weren't a duly... And this goes back to the whole... I know you are not a fan of the police. I'm going to throw this out there now.
Because they're government.
Because, exactly. They're not, but if you shot that guy for selling untaxed cigarettes, you're not a... I'm throwing the quotes up. For those on Facebook, you can see it. For those on the podcast, I got 2 quotes up in the air. You're not a duly deputized law enforcement agent.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If I break into your house, you could use any force to stop me, including up to killing me, to protect you and your
Correct,
family.
but the law also says if you fell and break your leg in my house, my homeowner's insurance has to pay for that. That's a weird dichotomy that I can't get behind.
The law doesn't say that.
No, that's state.
That's
state.
the court.
That's state. Yeah, no, that is also state.
That's a court.
That
and
is a state of Connecticut
They have to
thing.
find you guilty of neglect or something.
So if you break into my house and I have a faulty step and you fall and break your ankle, I'm on the hook for that because you broke into my house. I call horse shit.
Well,
that's our next
maybe.
Chances are, if I'm falling on the step, I haven't gotten into your house yet, so I call horse shit on you.
Well, what if
Anyway.
I have a faulty step up the way to my bedroom?
Something I dread about
Thank you.
Gary Johnson.
Go ahead.
I could get into the law thing for hours, and
No,
we're
don't.
already way over now.
Yeah, we are.
The thing I dread about Gary Johnson is he still has a tendency of he has intention of using the government for certain social things that I have an issue with. Like, you're familiar with the bakers and the cake and the gay wedding thing was all over the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
We covered that.
Yeah. So Gary still kind of thinks the government should have forced the baker to bake the cake or something like that.
Right, I got you. Right.
And I have. I'm not saying like I'm not all for bakers.
Government strong arm.
Government is a loaded gun. Let's be honest. They're a loaded gun. That's why they can use force up to including killing someone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not saying I support the baker. I think it's a douchebag. Thing. Whatever.
Right.
You're a douchebag. Whatever.
But it's your right to be a douchebag.
Right.
We've
exactly.
also said that. We've also said that.
You run the business, and Ed brought it up with the open carry thing. If you come into my restaurant and you're packing, you need to leave that in the car.
It's compulsion.
It's individual. If you run a business, you don't want a gun in there.
It's property
leave
rights.
It,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Property rights.
So
Thank
go back to the draft thing. It's about compulsion. I don't think the government should be permitted to compulse anybody. And I think anybody that gets on board with the compulsion thing has actually kind of been brainwashed by the politicians because they need, like you said, they need the bodies.
Right.
Okay, they need the bodies. That's why. And I'm no fan of Colin whatever his fucking name is, Afro Man.
Colin Kaepernick.
I'm no fan of him and what he's doing. But the sheer outrage from people about what he's doing makes me laugh.
It's
Well,
bullshit.
it's-
All of it.
Just shows you exactly where we are. It just
Yeah,
goes
it
to show you
makes me
exactly where we
laugh.
are.
And
it's the
and the-
divisiveness that has separated the entire country, because you started with, let's go back to Trayvon Martin. Let's go to, who's the gentleman in New York with the untaxed cigarettes?
Eric Garner.
Eric Garner. Let's go to Castile.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to all these guys, and all people see is the color of the skin. Most people, let's draw a line in the sand. Most people see, here's a white cop or a black kid or whatever. And look, I've had my fair share of dealings with cops on a personal level because I grew up around it. I don't say everything they do is right. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and be an apologist for the police department. What I'm going to say is the divisiveness of the country right now in 2016, and let's go back a year to 2015, they're putting us back in the 50s. They really are. For everything that Malcolm X and Dr. King and everybody that fought for equal rights is being brought back 50 steps by people going Black Power and Black Lives Matter and all this bullshit. You say no lives matter. We're all equally worthless in the eyes of whomever. Go ahead, say it.
Yeah, no lives matter.
Okay,
The universe doesn't give a fuck about you.
To me, every life matters. Your life matters. Ed, your life matters. Rachel, your life matters. Janelle's life matters. The Immortals' life, my kids, everybody. Every life matters to somebody. But we're drawing lines in the sand. 2 weeks ago, we covered a story about the kids wanting a safe space for people of color only. You're taking us back 50 years. How about we just worry about people being people? That's my take on it. And you can tell me I'm wrong, and you're wrong.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but that's the problem with individualism versus collectivism. And my biggest problem with Democrats, and I have my problems with Republicans, my biggest problem with Democrats is they were the party of slavery. They still the party of slavery. And they have a lot of people brainwashed.
At their root, yes.
They have a lot of people brainwashed. Like they tell people you are oppressed, you are being held back. And this is not just for people of color; it's women and everything. They tell you are oppressed, you are held back, and we're the only ones that can save you.
I was a registered Democrat until 8 years ago, and then I filed myself as independent. I still voted 8 years ago for Obama. Look, I apologize. I'm sorry, but until 8 years ago,
Don't apologize. You voted your conscience.
At that time, yes, I did, but my conscience grew.
But we got a top 10
grew.
for you.
Yes, we do, and let me just go right here and hit this. Yeah, you got let in real hard, kid.
I had to flex some producer muscle.
I'm glad you did. Final Countdown this week is brought to you by Sublime Ink Tattoo and Piercing Parlor in Groton, Connecticut. You can get the number on any one of our bumpers or our Facebook page because I just don't have the time and the energy to find it for you. Also, check out Viking Entertainment because they are the premier karaoke and DJ specialists in the southeastern Connecticut area. Loki, tell us what you got.
All right, so with all these candidates out here, I figured in 2016 I would put the best things available for my persona up on the auction table. So
this will not
in November 8th, I am going to put my nutsack up for grab. And these are the top 10 reasons why my nutsack is better than those two fucking monkey fucks that are running for president right now.
This better not suck.
Number 10. My balls don't even email, so you ain't got to worry about the FBI coming by and taking care of that shit. That ain't happening, right? My balls are all about love, not war.
Number 9, nice.
I'm going to tell you what. You ain't going to worry about some cheesy little foreign war and shit that, no, ain't going to happen.
Right in Loki's balls for president.
Number 8, I can personally vouch for my balls.
Okay.
Personally, they're good balls.
Fair.
They're good balls. Number 6, they don't like walls.
Ooh.
They don't believe in walls.
Nice.
They don't like walls. Free them all. Free them all. Number 5, they're always groomed. So you don't have to worry about a sloppy president. There's always going to be a nice president.
I gotta call.
No
time
bedhead.
out.
No swoosh bedhead.
I gotta call timeout. You were the guy that sang last week about buckwheat on a summer day. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, I was making. Yeah, you got. That's what she was smelling like. That's what she was smelling like.
Fair enough.
Number 4. My balls are the cult of personality.
Ooh.
Thank you. Number 3.
Number 3.
These balls have served this great nation.
Nice.
Number 2. They're all about healthcare, man.
Nice.
They are all about the healthcare.
Keeping you healthy every day of the year.
Yes. And number 1. Even though they're attached to a dick they personally can't penetrate, so you don't have to worry about my balls fucking you in the end.
Nice. Fantastic.
Loki's Balls, 2016.
Loki's Balls for president. Wow.
Well, I'm switching my vote.
Not me.
Grab him by the pussy.
Should I say it again?
Grab him by the pussy.
I'm writing in Loki's balls.
I am now.
Real quick. For those of you that are thinking of writing in Bernie Sanders,
don't.
Please don't.
Just don't.
He is not filed as a writing candidate.
No.
Even if he won, he loses.
Quick update for those of you watching.
It's over. He lost.
For those of you watching on Facebook Live,
thank you.
The Cubs are winning 5-1 in the bottom of the 5th. So we might be looking at ending the 108-year drought.
Yep.
So by the time you hear this Saturday, if you're the kind of people that listen to us just on your headset, you might be hearing history in the making. One thing I want to bring up is I've been in emails with Henry Rollins' people after the show. One other person I've been in contact with, I'm just going to put the books up here so you can see it on Facebook Live. Unfortunately, to get this guy on the podcast, I have to go through a literary agent, but I am working diligently to get Jesse Ventura here on the Loki and Jabroni Show, and talks are moving forward, so you know. So we are all...
And I got to read, too, so
we
you
are
know
all
that,
going to read this book, and if Loki has to read, you know it's some serious shit.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans was a real good... It's hard to say. Democrats and Republicans was a really good book.
Yes. I bought the Marijuana Manifesto. I also bought Shit Politicians Say. We're all going to read these books as soon as I get a date nailed down. Hopefully, sometime in the next 3 weeks. Hopefully, the word is in January, we're going to have Jesse Ventura.
Be fantastic. I'd love it.
On top of that, we have another special announcement for all of you in Facebook land. And if you're listening to this on Saturday or Sunday, you're kind of behind the 8 ball. This Monday, we're going completely interactive. Your questions are leading the show. You got a question for Loki? You got a question for me? You got a question for Ed? We're going to take them. This is your show. And if you don't ask questions, we're just going to have to wing it. And that's kind of a testament to the listenership. But hopefully, you guys
we'll
respond.
open a thread on Facebook, and we'll take questions off there, too.
Of course.
We'll see if anybody has any pre-written questions.
Ed's kind of waving his microphone, so I know he's got something to say.
Yep.
He's wiggling his little jeans.
Have a wonderful night, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Get interactive.
Vote.
Grab him by the pussy.